just gone past 7 o'clock in SBG and the Eastern Caribbean. Let's go to the top and come right back right here on OMG in the morning.
SBG starts with OMG in the morning on the trending station. Wake up with the real Badman Bing and DJ Shady.
It's not no 1,000 and no 2,000, nope. No 3,000. It's what? Hyper 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Yeah, I still getting on. I say me head bad and I still getting on. Say me head bad, I need to stop me head bad. Let go me cup, me head bad and I still getting on. Say me head bad, I need to stop me head bad. I say not talk. How bad is it? Really bad. How bad is it? Bad, bad. Alcoholic level, so I need me rum card. How bad is it? Really bad. How bad is it? Bad, bad. Alcoholic level, so I need me rum card. When I bust this hill, tell me to ease up. Cause it's me, myself and I, we just make the thing turn up. And I styling with it, that mean me two hands them have cups. And the rule is simple, if you make too much you throw up. Hey, hold up today, hold it properly. Hold it good, don't make it drop. If it drop, it get a stop. Right, hold up today, hold it properly. Hold it good, don't make it drop. And show them how we respect the team. When I reach down to me friends inside the party like a big pen, let me say, where the fuck? Where the fuck I see in there? Where the fuck? Show me, let me jump up in there. Where the fuck? Where the fuck I see in there? Where the fuck? Now everybody come and jump up in it. Jump up in it. Jump up in it. Show me, let me jump up in it. Come, jump up in it. Jump up in it. Jump up in it. Say, girl, me no laugh, you know. I want to tell her stop. Wait, I ain't talking about focus. I'm talking about when the mud get wet with us calling mug. We do it like job. We love to get dirty your pocket. Any mud we run it every day. It's dirty, no laugh, you know. The head bad, just tell them we head bad. Show them all your big pen behavior from the entrance and tell them when we reach, when I reach down to me friends inside the party like a big pen, let me say, where the fuck? Where the fuck I see in there? Where the fuck? Show me, let me jump up in there. Where the fuck? Where the fuck I see in there? Where the fuck? When it come to sex, y'all me no laugh, you know. And when it come to walk, y'all me no laugh, you know. When it come to bend, y'all me no laugh. Walk, y'all me no laugh. Walk, y'all me no laugh, you know. This situation serious, no cap. When you're winding up and you're pushing on me, sober. When you're looking back and you're looking at me, oh gosh, watch that girl waving up, she's tsunami. Big butt, so fat, oh god. Come on with all of that. How you managing with all of that? When you fling it on it, you're bad. Have me leaning on it, so red. It's sham rum and a big head. I looking a quick head. I winding on top this girl up in there like a sick head. She winding up on it quick head. She bending 90 pin. She tell me after the cruising done it possible for the mission. It's serious. When you're winding up and you're pushing on me, when you're looking back and you're looking on me, oh gosh, watch that girl waving up, she's tsunami. Big butt, so fat.
He want to eat up the raw, so I give him the curry raw. He want to eat up the raw, so I give him the curry raw. He want to eat up the curry, he put the onion in the curry, the whole piece in the curry. This boy fork in the curry. He want to eat up the curry raw.
none of them not bad like me, problem is a problem. Alright, again. Hey, hello, how you doing? Hello, hope everything okay. What's going on, what you been up to? And how the family doing? And compliments to the season. So good to see your face and the players. Excuse my manners, I almost forgot to say Happy Carnival. Come let we jump up, get on and tell we mass. Everybody jumping up together as one. No animosity, strictly love inside the band. That's how we like it. Happy Carnival. Come let we jump up, get on and tell we mass. Everybody jumping up together as one. No animosity, strictly love inside the band. This year I'm moving like a carnival drummer. I get it on board, put my hands up there. I drink it around, so I must play. It's me and my friend that on the outside holder. Oh yeah, yeah, like a carnival drummer. I get it on board, put my hands up there. I drink it around, so I must play. It's me and my friend that on the road holder. Give me a bloody jump and play me man.
Come Shady, walk your hand, buddy, walk your hand, Shady, walk your hand.
Like a carnival drummer, let me hear this thing. Like a carnival drummer, I can't be your, I can't be your.
Listen to me, Keely. See, I'm blind, here and deaf. Once you have your own, you're blessed. See, I'm blind, here and deaf. Once you have your own, you're blessed. Don't study them, don't mind them, don't study them.
One more, buddy, one more before we jump in.
Don't mind them, don't study them, don't mind them. Hey, I don't mind people business. Charles my witness. It's a money console. If you see me wrong, so time is not the fun show. Miss me with the fun show. This is not the fun show. Elevation time. No more wasting time. I want what is mine. Money on my mind. Never skip the line. Damn, it's with the rhyme. See, I'm blind, here and deaf. Once you have your own, you're best. See, I'm blind, here and deaf. Once you have your own, you're blessed. Don't study them, don't mind them. Don't study them, don't mind them. Don't study them, don't mind them. Don't study them.
That one in him stash. Let them up, anything you have in your hand, you stash. Let them up, we don't give a damn.
London boy, London. Look you. Vibes Cartel money.
Let them. That one in him stash. Let them up, anything you have in your hand, you stash. Let them up, we don't give a damn, we don't give a stash. Let them up, anything you have in your hand, you stash. Let them up, we don't give a damn, we don't give a.
Look, we partner.
In your area, water. In your area, water. In your area, water. In your area. I am a plumber. I bring out the pipe and ice, she puts on she pepper. She do on a plastic pipe, the other one better. You want one grandpa use, you can steal on a hammer. Okay. Grandpa used to use pieces for the truck.
All right. That's too much heat in the studio this morning at this time. Yeah, boy. And you only know how one hand. Hopefully I'm supposed to get this thing off my hand today. We'll know by this afternoon.
So we hit him at the gym?
I hit him at the gym. Yeah, right, whatever. That's like you say you're going to church. That's like you say your partner Ras Moses, Candyman, the Prime Minister press officer is going to build a house for you out of the foundation stage in Union Island. That's like that happening. That's like we see the green zombie. Not a green monkey, a green zombie. Good morning to you folks, how you doing? It's Wednesday morning. I love Wednesdays because I get to talk anything I want. I get to cuss anybody I want because I get to see what I want because it is We don't care Wednesday. We don't give a damn. Give me a boom on that. We don't care Wednesday. We do
Say
not
boom.
give me a boom. Say boom. It's about the effect over there. You're supposed to say it with the effect, buddy. Oh, Jesus Lord. That's married to say that's my DJ boy. That's my DJ. That's married to say that's your. Hamo, let's go, Hamo. This morning we got a special guest inside with us this morning. He will be joining us this morning. We got Philip Jackson this morning. Yeah, boy, they're rolling in. Philip Jackson will be our guest this morning. NDP candidate from Marco. We'll tell you more about that after Hamo gets going. Let's go. Good morning to you, brother. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Ben.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning. How are you?
For the help again, and I'm saying without me, the public wouldn't know anything because obviously, and let me say this, I love the NDP people. I love you all because that is the only way we could get Ralph Gonsalve. But there is also another way we could get rid of Ralph Gonsalve because we are seeing now Donald Trump is putting the heat on Maduro. So Maduro has literally isolated the opposition and literally over 2,000 persons since the election. And it's similar here. They can't get no privilege in America. The monies go to his own cronies in the military. And Donald Trump is basically saying no. And so just a few days ago, Donald Trump was able to help the opposition leader mother escape Venezuela. And the opposition leader has done her part, which Dr. Friday should have been, Philip Jackson should have been doing, going to Maduro to set civil aid, just like in Cuba. And so Gonsalve will continue to drive fair, not in Hamilton, and I hope not in you, but two things I want to say quickly. With the passion, because the passion ain't coming, because they won't cut the passion. Passion won't stop until we get rid of tyranny, and tyranny is in the whole 15 NDP and Ralph Gonsalve. They coordinate together to keep the situation, because it's not going to change next election. And I could stand up in a court and prove it. So two things quickly. Yesterday I spoke about the list. There's no person in the NDP that have gone through the list more than Hamilton. And I can tell you that they do not look at the list based on that Hamilton come on here to say it. I can prove it in a court. And so what I do is that I call the 15 constituency, and they're saying we're not looking at the list. I know what has happened here in Western George. And so when this lady come and go after that, you can imagine that you have somebody lose an election by 1 seat, and the way she treated that guy yesterday, the way she treated you, the way she treated me, because we begged them to do better. And there's a leader named Dr. Friday, and you won't come on and say, Ben, you apologize for the misbehavior of the public relations officer. Because they don't want to win the election. They just want to fool the NDP people, and they had them like Kudumono. NDP people, you can't win with them there. You could have won with Ralph Gonsalve. Mind you, because people think they get the mixed information concerning what I'm saying about Gonsalve. You can't get my vote. Candyman, all of you in the NDP caucus can't get my vote either. So you mean to tell me because I'm critical of Ralph Gonsalve, I can't be critical of the political party? So yesterday, we spoke about that list. 100,000 persons on that list. Plus, last time when we checked, Abraham said over 800 prospects on 1,000 got. You know what that is similar in Cuba and Venezuela. You can't win an election with that. How can you win an election when you have about 70,000 people? Last election about 65 persons voting. How are you going to win? It means then that the extra 40,000 people, any one of them could come home anytime and go into a polling station and vote. And with these very narrow margins, this young lady did not look, and she come in here yesterday. That is one. Last thing, I want to warn Mr. Big Boy, because they see themselves as a big boy. Edmund Jackson in the Ministry of Finance for going after America. And so here you have another situation where, and I thank God for the Times. The Times have now brought it home to give an analysis coming from the what is happening in St. Vincent. That St. Vincent environment encourages criminals to take advantage. Mr. Jackson did the same game in 2017 when we had a situation where Mr. Manafort let me just give you a little piece of it. Because you see, Ben, I'm sending all these information to you because me not there like the NDP. Me not come on here and talk, but me can't prove. Because for me, the NDP lies are so damn well. Trust me, it hurt me because under the new system will never happen. SUNMNAMLC for FIU and FSA October 30th, 17 issued a statement. Joint statement in relevant authorities in the Grenadines on allegations of money laundering. The relevant authorities in the Grenadines, namely the NAMLC and Financial Service Authority and the Financial Intelligence Unit, hereby use a joint statement to denounce the description from the Americans that St. Vincent notorious for money laundering. They're notorious for money laundering. And while they're there defending Papa, lying and putting our country reputation at stake, up comes Vincentian woman firm indicted in $50 million fraud. March 2000 Eyewitness News, and we got that information.
20 seconds, buddy, 20 seconds.
I am also speaking here about a very grave situation where the people who work in, including Mr. Jackson in the Ministry of Finance, have given us fraudulent figures.
Hamo, how do you know that the figures that was given us fraudulent? How do you know that? Where are you getting your information from?
Because I am part of it. I was part of it. I worked at a statutory body. I worked within the confines. I worked at JESCO.
But that was like a million years ago. You don't know what the figures are now.
What figures am I talking about? I am talking about the debt. It's not 2 billion or 3 billion. It's about 6 billion. I'm talking about
You think that the national debt is $6 billion? That's what you're saying.
I am thinking. Let me say, Brother Bing, do you
I'm just asking you. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Slow down. Let me get you back. The reality is that. No, because you don't do Candyman and them that. What I'm saying, the situation is so serious that here you have a situation that in order for the dictatorship to write checks, they have exhausted, bankrupt the economy, that they go to the NCB Bank, and the NCB Bank said, Mr. Gonsalve, we cannot write checks from you, because you're already over the 32 million. That 32 million is in the red because the consolidated fund is red because you don't have any tourism sector, you don't have any agriculture sector, you don't have citizen investment program to back you up. And so you know how they write in checks. They write the checks, send them to the NCB. Without the monies to back it up, it puts your savings in danger. But look at what Gonsalve did with Mr. Jackson and all of them, including your Accountant General and the Auditor General, should be investigated because they should have said, no, Mr. Gonsalve, because you're going to mount high interest rates and kill this economy stone dead. Right now you can't even put let me tell you something. You know the hardest part finally about coming on here? Is that Friday said to me, I call him millions of times. He ain't calling you because you are one of them. And that is the man all I want to put in.
Hamo, brother, you must stop telling lies now. Friday.
Hold on a while.
Dr. Friday did not tell you that. Wait, Kingsley the Freitas was on the call with you?
No, what
so
I'm
how
saying,
would he know?
The morning, look, God, man, don't make me sound like a liar. I want a lie for I have a lie with a lie for you.
Yeah, but don't do that. Don't lie on Dr. Friday. Don't lie on Prime Minister Gonsalve.
No, hold on, you want to make me a liar. Call on.
Call who? Call who? Who should I call?
Call my wife right now.
But why would I call your wife?
Call my wife. She'll give me the evidence. Because she's there. I said, Dr. Friday, bring in some important Kingsley Freitas, many other names. I said call in on the program and clarify. Me not talk, you know, okay. Why Friday calling you? Why so many persons have blocked out the radio?
He must have his reasons. And they must have their reason why they stick into one radio station.
One stupid question come up. You think the man who you call the Prime Minister, Rod Gonsalve, would have done that to any individual, a man like Hamilton or big dog? No.
Matter because he just called
man, I
hugging you up and
I am saying what we're going to have is a very devastating election. and it means 6 storms, basically in the doldrums. If you give Hamilton that, make him that leadership, which I don't want to be in politics, I will go to Donald Trump. And I will beg for sanction and investigation into the corruption, into the finances of St. Vincent. People like Jackson and all of them, the entire cabinet, the entire Ministry of Finance, senior people.
Don't bring civil servants into this, Nahamo.
Let me tell you
Don't
something.
bring civil
There's some
servants
good
into
civil
this.
servants. I know a few of them, and I'm telling you, I was very impressed with Mrs. Fitzpatrick, Robbie Fitzpatrick's wife. She was a very independent-minded person. I don't know how she did it, but she was able to stand up. But all of those current accountant general, attorney general, commissioner of police, one quick thing, what is the crime rate? Why Bailey ain't coming up and telling us that they had another murder yesterday? Why is Bailey not telling us that we still remain number 1 for crime? Why are we playing carnival? Can we give assurance that these people coming here? We are the crime capital of the Caribbean. It's time for Ralph Gonsalves to go. It's time for Friday Liquor, Cummins and Philip Jackson, all of them to go. It's time for our country to be set free. It's time for more people to talk like Bing. And your brother in the studio in Hamilton.
Easy.
God bless you very much, because me tell you something, right now, most Vincentians, most parents can't send the children to school. Bing, it is so bad in that supermarket.
Easy.
Sorry, it's so bad in that supermarket. I saw some boys from grammar school. They went down by a restaurant down the road down there. You know what they're buying? A bag of bread, shade up with a chicken, with 2 pieces of chicken, share up for them. Things is that bad with them. The mommy don't have the money. So much forces Gonsalves send home. Why? Because for me, he feels that he's a king and he could get everybody wrong him to lie. And that is why I stood up to my grown and just go.
You gotta wrap it up now, buddy. You gotta wrap it up now.
We have to get these people back, Candyman. Candyman, you used to be led by Pastor Bascom. He's a pastor. Don't sell your soul today. Resign. Say I don't want Ralph Gonsalves anymore. All of you 14, we call it. You say don't call them sticks. A wrong Friday. Demand that he resigns today and give us a party that can organize.
Thank you very much.
That can walk
Thank
with
you very much. Thank you.
Love you all very much. Love you very much.
Easy. Whew. I'm having tea this morning. I'm not having caffeine this morning. I'm not having coffee this morning. So you would understand why. I let him went on a little bit longer, because I needed to raise my caffeine level. I needed to raise my blood pressure level to come up, because I take blood pressure medication every morning. So I needed to get that up a little to balance it off, So Hamo does that to me every morning. I don't care what they say. I will always entertain Hamo every morning. Every morning. I don't care what nobody say. None of you in control of this. I will always entertain Mr. Hamilton. What did they say? Citizenship is the highest officer in the land. Hamo is a citizen of this country. He's entitled to his opinion. Whether you agree or you disagree with his opinion, he's entitled to it. All right. I just wish sometimes he can just be a bit more calm. Sometimes he's got good information, right? So that it can be a little bit more palatable. People can get it a little bit more. But only leave my partner Hamo alone. Leave my partner. Rosemary, good morning to you, Bassi. But Alexander, buddy. But say Hamo need a psychiatrist. But how dare you? Why would you say that? How you hurt my feelings by saying that? Yeah. Big morning to you, big morning, my brother. Morning. Of course, I guess by now you guys know that we've got a special guest this morning. Philip Jackson. He will be joining us soon. He's in traffic on his way here. Hopefully he gets here very soon before we get all the different segments going. But Philip Jackson is our special guest this morning. I spoke to him a while ago. He is on his way here. All right. So don't lose faith. He'll be here this morning. All right. He's on his way here to the studio. All right. At 7:45 we've got our counsel Jomo Thomas joining us as per usual. At 8:15 we got another crazy man. I don't know how he and Hamo who need the psychiatrist more. He said he's a doctor for them. So I think he thinks that he's a psychiatrist. Candyman Ras Moses, the Prime Minister's press officer in the Prime Minister's office, and he comes in at 8:15 in the mornings. But of course, I have to call Linda, and it's a whole project. You know what I mean? I have to call Linda, and I had to cuss Lyndon about the money collect from Vibes Cartel, and then Lyndon had to call he, and it is, it's part of the whole project and craziness, especially on a Wednesday. It's even worse on a Wednesday, yeah. And then we'll continue with Philip Jackson, and we continue spending the morning. He will spend the morning with us, the entire morning with us this morning, Philip Jackson, and then we go around to Dr. Richards with his segment at 9:45. I'm going to bring Dr. Richards on time this morning, all right? So that will be the lineup for this morning. Of course, we take your calls. As a matter of fact, we can take some calls now. Why not? Phone lines constantly ringing, so let's take some calls now. Good morning. You're live.
Morning, Dave. I'm here to like you WhatsApp Shaky. I have a question for you, Dave.
My brother.
I'm not making shaky, but I have a question for you, Dave. How come we have press conference about CBI, but we never have a press conference about the crime from the Minister of National Security? That's what I want to know. What do you think is that?
We probably need to have Shallow come in and talk about crime.
Because
Shallow need to come in and talk about crime. We're going to look at that in a bit.
Everybody hold their belly. Nobody had no press conference. The Minister of National Security had no press conference, and then you go and have press conference, and you counteract yourself because one point in time, Ames never had no passport, but the other day say Ames a passport, and it had to be voted to censorship. So what can lie? And then the people them now, the Labour people them, say the evidence and still convince themselves not lie here tell. They could keep them on. They could keep from you hear man say one time they Ames had no passport. He say the other day Ames had passport. I mean he tell lie the first time he say Ames had passport. And Labour people convince themselves not lie man tell. Bring them people they could keep from bring. Because if me and you see the truth and me convince you wow we see is not the truth, then you go keep from me. Okay then, big up yourself here. Hamo, I love you, my brother. Then continue to be Hamo psychiatrist, You're Hamo psychiatrist, Hamo, no, and our jokes aside, Hamo information is absolutely critical,
Very.
But Hamo is so frustrated that Hamo see any ship going down. Hamo see a hole in the ship, and now with the Spanish ship apart, and Hamo tell you, hey, a hole in the Spanish ship, and let's tell Hamo you're the Spanish ship in it. And Hamo see the whole Spanish ship, and somehow we see the whole Spanish ship, and still convince ourselves the whole of the Spanish ship. And he's saying people talk about the thing, who hear the lie and convince themselves of the truth. That's why Hamo frustrated on a thing. Me not live there, I'm frustrated. What about Hamo who live there and frustrated, and a lot of them who live there and pretend they're not frustrated, just being on the inbox and tell me how frustrated them is. But guess what, people? Imagine public servants who get double salary because the income CBI is generating. And a lot of people who say, oh, European Union go revoke our passport, they go have ID card to go money in my restaurant, but they worry about visa, travel, visa. But don't let nobody convince you something that's not a potential problem, Charlie, is a problem. CBI is going to help everybody, but CBI could potentially affect a small percentage of intentions who want to come travel. Think about that thing. If you drive a car, when I decide to take off having a car, it's having to spend money to put in gas. You go do, so when you can't ride donkey, then having a shoes, me have to lace up, you go do, that's where shoes and put on slippers, but you go walk to some art club. All the stop being noticed people. And I ain't saying that with apology. Stop being noticed. That's why you must say intellectual wasteland. Because we let somebody convince us a problem is a problem that's not other. We don't even know the problem exists without somebody mention it. CBI, and I see somebody talking about his intentions wanna use CBI totally. We're gonna use CBI totally for the development of films. Nobody never said we're gonna be totally dependent on CBI and stop push all the propaganda, please and thank you. CBI is just one aspect in the diversified portfolio put forward by the New Democratic Party. But you have to take it with a grain of salt because politicians tell us they're going to put Tom in it thing. Remember that? Ram to the Tom in it thing. And they turn around and say, we strike it on the referendum. If you talk about it important and the referendum never pass it, implement it like how you implement cybercrime bill, please, man. Fool attack on phone all this, but I don't stop on the phone too long because Barry Black say, me just the radio too long, we kind of work me a do that, me could be radio holy. Don't worry about it, man. I am a professional. I am a boss, Barry. Me I work because me have work at these that work for me, Barry Black. Me have people that work for me and I'm going to look it over and make sure everything is everything. So if them not do their work good, me don't get the blame because I am that good, Barry. Me done for me not stupid. Put some respect for me name, big man.
Drop mic, buddy. That's a drop mic. Drop mic. Drop mic. Wow. So this crime thing and this shooting thing, it's. Well, first of all, let me give you the story according to one SVG News when it broke. All right, and that one caught me off guard yesterday. Right? Let me see if there's more details on another site, which is the St. Vincent Times. They've got more details in it. I mean, this one really caught me off guard yesterday. I knew Mr. King. Yeah, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is investigating a fatal shooting that occurred in the community of Green Hill on Tuesday, May 13th, 2025, which resulted in the death of Stephen King, popularly known as Steve King. I know, that's what I used to call him, Steve. Yeah. According to preliminary reports, at approximately 12 p.m., masked gunmen entered, it's not like more than one, not a masked gunman, entered Mr. King's premises and opened fire, shooting him multiple times about his body. The assailants fled the scene shortly after the incident. Mr. King was immediately taken to the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital, where he died of his injuries shortly after. The crime scene unit is currently processing the scene to collect evidence, and investigations are ongoing. A post-mortem examination is expected to conduct on the usual stuff. Yeah, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines extend condolences to the family. Yeah, the usual stuff there. Now, we're not told if that matter was a robbery. We weren't told that. Sorry, the phone lines keep ringing and sorry, but the persons who've been calling, you can call back. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. We're not told. Well, if masked gunmen, Mr. King is not involved in anything that I knew. I wasn't involved in anything that I knew. He wasn't involved in any gangs or anything. He's a businessman, a good businessman, I might add. And he was shot, killed, multiple bullets, multiple shots about his body. Not one, not two, multiple times. Good morning, caller, you're live.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you? All right. Yes.
Yes, I'm right.
All right. Yeah. I just calling in, right? Some people speak a lot, and CBI. Okay. CBI. Why it may not be a bad program? Okay. It is not one that you can depend on to pay salary and create employment. Because why? CBI is not something that is recurrent. You have to depend on something that is recurrent to service your recurrent expenditure. So it's things like VAT and those taxes that we collected. These are the things that really pay salary and so on, can create employment, And here man speaking just now about CBI, you get double salary. Yes, you may be able to pay a bonus from CBI, but you can't depend on CBI to pay salaries and so on. So sometimes, and let me tell you something, we are doing far better than those countries, with CBI, It's not me who says it's the World Bank. Because if you look at it, Guyana is the leading, has 10%. in the fastest growing economy. We are 4.9. Those countries here, the CBI are 3% behind us. So I don't know. I don't know. Well, it's for the people to choose because I realize that.
Can you explain that? I know of that report from the World Bank, but can you explain more and be totally transparent? We're doing better in what way? Do you know?
In terms of the economy, okay? In terms of the economy, because I think that's what it's really based on.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. You remember in COVID, 2 of those countries on CBI program, couldn't pay salary, We never miss a salary yet. You realize that? So it's for the people to choose whether or not they accept CBI or whether or not, because it looks like this is going to be one of the issues for this election.
Yeah. And what is your position? Are you for or against the CBI program?
I am not for CBI.
You're not
Never.
for CBI. Okay.
No, because I can understand a lot of people just getting our citizenship just like that. No. I am not. Once we can manage without CBI, I am for no CBI.
Okay. Do you know that there are non-Vincentians who are citizens? Well, they don't say non-Vincentians who carry Vincentians passport.
Of course.
But you're saying you're not for that. Are you for that? Are you against that?
Yeah, because let me tell you something though. I used to be an immigration officer. And the laws are there within a way that people who come here and live, right? And they are here for a period of time. You can apply for a visitation passport, but it goes along with other, other things, not just living here alone.
Like what? Other things like what?
Okay, like your contribution.
What contribution? What do you mean?
Your ability to contribute to our economy. In other words, if you apply for Canadian citizenship, right? You have a plus if you have a degree or something of that sort. I think you start with 16 points or something like that, and to score.
And what are the contributions that you have to from in St. Vincent to get a passport, according to what you're saying? You explain what goes on in Canada, but what is it?
Okay, right. Okay, right. What is the case is that, okay, first of all, there is, let me go with the one by marriage, okay? Years ago you could have married, this is the very called marriage of convenience. You married somebody pay your money. And you marry them and they become a citizen of St. Vincent just like that. Well, okay, I think they have amended those laws. So, you have to be seriously in love and so on and so forth. And after investigations, if it's not a marriage of convenience. So that's one person who is not a Vincentian that can get a Vincent.
Right.
There's a gentleman, I'm not going to call him, right? Who lives in Mustique. I think he's making contribution to, I think he's one of the men against the whaling thing and so on, right? I think you might know
right. Yes.
Okay, right.
Right.
And
very well.
He's a bona fide citizen. You all know that.
Yes.
And plus, and plus he has the ability to contribute to our economy also.
But hold on. Do you understand what you're talking about is the CBI program there, right?
No. That's CBI.
That is exactly what you're saying. You're looking at it from the standpoint of how Prime Minister Gonsalves spoke about it. That CBI is about selling your passport. But all that you just said there is citizenship by investment. Mr. Ames, did Mr. Ames ever, hold on, I allow you to speak, because give me a minute, right? Did Mr. Ames carry a Vincentian passport? How did he get it? He invested, right? Did Mr. Nano carry a Vincentian passport? How did he get it? He invested, alright? And many others, there are many others who invested in St. Vincent and carried a Vincentian passport. Now, I am not saying whether I am for or against at this point. I'm just trying to get it out of your head, what you're thinking. All right? Okay. So continue.
What I'm thinking, right? Look at the prices between both of them. Okay? That alone will tell you something. The price that you pay for the citizen by investment should be I'm not too sure about the prices, eh? But it's a price that you cannot resist. But I think the price for those passports that I'm speaking about for those kind of people, I think it's normal. Once you got the naturalization, I think it's normal. So what is the difference between the two of them?
All right, we got Council backstage. Yeah, you answered some good questions, and I would like you to call back at some point, if not this morning, for us to continue to have this conversation, because it's important to have the dialogues that people, I am not saying I am for what you're saying or against what you're saying. I am doing devil's advocate, right? So we can dialogue to bring out the information for those who do not understand it and who are listening could understand it. All right, thank you very much, my brother.
Right, okay, all right, no problem, right.
We got Council backstage, Shady. Let's go with Council.
Plain talk. Plain talk with Jumo Thomas.
So much things to say right now.
All you talk now.
On OMG.
Good morning to you, Council. Good morning.
Good morning, Bing Joseph. Good morning, Shady. Most of all, good morning to your listeners. Bing, what? You injured yourself.
You just noticing this? I've had this on.
Nah, I haven't seen your hand.
That's why I've been in absence.
I haven't seen your hand in that sling. I didn't notice.
Wow, yeah, it's been on.
But remember, when I am on, you kind of disappear. So,
well, that's the reason why I wasn't on the last week or so when I wasn't on.
Yeah, but I'm saying that when I come on, you kind of disappear. So I didn't get to see your hand in the sling. I just saw it.
Come on.
This morning. Anyway.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little this morning about has-beens and never was. Because my good friend and brother, Charlotte Macmillan, came on yesterday. And he said, the man who came on before me, sometimes we could say a man is a has-been. But we can't even say that this man who came on before me, well, what he said is that the man who came on before me is a never was. I mean, you can be sure I don't have no problem with that characterization. My brother, as Upton Sinclair said, if you're getting paid to say what you say, you say what you're getting paid for. So I don't have any difficulty with that at all. But if what he says he believes, then it stands to reason that he should be dismissed, or his bosses should be dismissed to send him to spend 20 minutes. I listened. This is probably the first time I listened to his entire piece. He spent about 20 to 21 minutes talking about I never was. Now, so why would you give legs to a never was? But James Mitchell said, nobody stole Floxy Mango. And that's why I leave. He never was. Now, what I wanted to talk about yesterday and got pulled in to what we talked about is what I want to call the institutional failure in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And if we pay attention, we would know that the institutional failure is monumental. We know in 2022 that the girls' high school was moved to the decommissioned Arnesville Airport. We know in 2023, Thomas Sanders Secondary School, which before it was the Richmond Hill Government School, which supported the education of so many people in that catchment, French's, Morris Village, Sion Hill, even Sharps, has been closed. We heard last week that the police barracks at Old Montrose is being closed. If you want to see disrepair, you can go to any of the police stations across the country and to look at the conditions of these places. Many places are rented, and we have been renting these places that are doubling up as police station for many years. Then we can look at the school. Well, in addition to the schools, go to any of the schools and check the facilities. We know that the old treasury right next to the ministerial building that houses the post office went into a state of disrepair, and the government allowed it to be occupied by vagrants, and then it caught a fire, and that was broken down. We know that the old princery, and a lot of young people now may not know that there was a princery, a government princery right behind what is now the office of the audit, or where they have that car park there next to the old ministerial building. We know that there used to be a building in front of the princery that used to house at one time the ministry of a number of ministries used to be there. That went into disrepair. We know that the roads are in a state of disrepair. We know that when you look at the central police station, the main police station, for years now, probably a decade or more, you have two pieces of plywood right in the front of the police station. And none of the persons who have occupied the leadership of that, neither the Minister of National Security, who drives by there at least 2 times per day, 2-3 times per day, would think, look guys, you all are playing the fool. You can get the guys at the prisons to cut out a frame of the window similar to how they were for generations and put it in for years. They're like that. The clinics, in the last budget, they boasted that I think they were going to build 2 clinics and they're going to repair about 11. Repairing 11 clinics. And it was a boast. It's the foolish thought that when they boast about these things, that they're repairing things in disrepair, they say, the government, labor is working. We are told that labor is working when you let things to go to rot. And you either break it down or you fight to build it back. And I talk about this issue of disrepair and institutional breakdown, because we're not yet talking about the ramshackle nature of the police force or the civil service. We're just talking about the physical structures. Yeah? And you put all of that in the context of the hundreds of millions of dollars that this government has borrowed. So you're borrowing hundreds of millions of dollars. You now have close to $1 billion in loans with the Republic of China on Taiwan. You boast that your borrowing policy is fundamentally intended to put a hook in the gill of the nation. You borrow 650, and it may well be more by the time the port is finished, to build the modern port. When the CDB said that you could have spent 20 million US and rehabilitate the old port, and it could have served us for many, many years in the future. You do all of this, and now, as elections come, you're in a mad scramble. Look at what they have done in Calicut. All of Calicut is ripped up. And I'm sure the parliamentary representative for East St. George, of which Calicut is a part, and our Minister of Finance is probably quite disturbed because we are going up to a general elections in which he got some real body blows in 2020, reducing his margin of victory from 613 to 192, and he's going up now where the road going up to Fair Hall, which was announced to be constructed in 2019, is still not completed. They're paving coming down. But because the paving is so shoddy, if there are heavy rains, there's a real possibility that some of that would rip up. Or with all of these huge trucks we have now that are going around filled with tons and tons of stone and other thing, they are going to rip up. And if you don't believe me, all I ask you do is to go drive down all the way down to the cemetery and go up just a few feet in that piece of road that leads from the cemetery going up to Edinburgh and Otley Hall. What they did, people may recall, months ago, they did like about 150 feet of road to give the impression that the road was being done or that the road was done, because a lot of people would go to the cemetery for funerals and so on. So you come there and say, yeah, the road is done. And then you go up. By the time you turn the corner, the road is as the way it was. But that piece of road, which was put down less than a year ago, is already ripping up. I was in that area last week, Friday, and you can see 3 areas within a space of about 20-30 feet had already buckled under either the weight or because the water had seeped under the asphalt. So why are we spending all of this money to give it to companies that are not doing the job properly, and that we spend hundreds it was earmarked $125 million for roads in 2023, 127 million for roads in 2024, 126 million for roads in 2025. And then earlier this year, the Prime Minister went to Taiwan and said he had gotten another 53 million for roads. And yet we have this institutional collapse. And so when they tell us that all of this is being done, and then we are going deeper and deeper and deeper into debt, and we are not seeing the practical, tangible results of what all of this debt is about. And then we are told that a revenue stream that is guaranteed to bring some money into the country, and I'm talking here about a citizenship by investment program that is guaranteed to bring some money in. We're told, well, why are you going to go to that? It's going to dry up soon. As if Ben Joseph tells me that, look, Jomo, I can buy you lunch every day, but it would only last until the end of the month, because at the end of the month, beginning in June, I am going to leave St. Vincent. Does that mean I shouldn't go to Ben Joseph for lunch every day if I'm hungry? So the arguments that are presented for not tapping into that revenue stream at a time when we are having galloping debt, we're probably top $3 billion by now. We have a debt to GDP ratio of close to 90%. I think did I see 93% some time ago? May have been, but it's very high. And All of that debt is being placed in what they perceive as mega projects. So you spend 700 million on the modern port without justifying why we should spend 700 million. And I go back to the CDB study, which says 20 million US, and we could have rehabilitated the old Kingston Wharf. That could serve us well, probably for another 20, 30 years. Because we're not exporting anything. So we don't need to build a bigger port. And if we are importing, we should probably think about ways in which we can curb our importation bill, curb our food bill, curb some of the things, the products that we're importing that are creating problems for our people, the processed foods, the bleaching creams, all of those sugary drinks that our children get and resulting in childhood diabetes and so on. Those are the things that we should be thinking about as a people, thinking about as policy. But we don't do that. We don't do that at all. We spend time coming on here to curse people and try to say who is and never was. And if the messenger, the paid messenger, comes on and spew the kind of and engage in the kind of political buffoonery that we have seen, think about what the head of the fountain thinks and says. Because this is a fishing nation. And what did they say about fish? Where does the rotting begin? The rotting begins from the head down. So I want us to have, going forward, we could throw away all the foolish talk and have policy-oriented conversations and discussions. Because I think at the end of the day, all of us are Vincentians. And my colleagues, my friends, who may happen to hold a different position than I hold, that most of us, if not all of us, could remain colleagues and friends. Because I don't hold them, except for the vaccine mandate, as being evil. Because I do believe the vaccine mandate was evil. And I don't even believe that all of them would have gone ahead with the vaccine mandate if the head evil had not pushed it hard on all of them. So I hope that we could remain friends. I hope that we can have conversations and discussions that are meaningful, that help to edify our people, and we don't engage in the kind of lowballing that has become a hallmark of some of the people who come on to support government views and positions. That's my take for this morning, Ding Joseph, unless you have anything else.
Yes, Council, if you don't mind, Philip Jackson is in the studio, and I want to ask him if you want to respond to anything you would have said. So if you don't mind, a couple of minutes, let's take the station ID and come right back. All right, Shady, let's go to the top.
SVG starts with OMG in the morning on the trending station. Wake up with the real Badman Bing and DJ Shady.
We come like the big foot is all fish. You know we gon' lash it up, put me in the party. You know we gon' mash it up. Nobody could party like Princey. With the big foot in his all fish. You know we gon' lash it up, put me in the party. You know we gon' mash it up. Nobody could party like Princey. So come on, no man. Show them that you bad, come on, no man. Let them know you bad, come on, no man. Show up your hand, come on, no man. Show them that you bad, come on, no man. Let them know you mad, come on, no
OMG in the morning, lighting up SVG on Boom 1069.
And it's my pleasure to have this special guest in the studio with me for the very first time. Philip Jackson, good morning to you. Before I do my official introduction to you, Kongsu is backstage still. Is there anything that you want to say based on what you would have heard him saying?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jomo. Yes, I came in while Jomo was speaking about the Citizen by Investment Program. That was such a wonderful and masterful innovation by St. Kitts since 1984 and adopted by other OECS countries because it demonstrates creativity, innovation, and the ability being to look at the global landscape and find niches where small developing states can exploit opportunities to create income revenues for the country to drive development. And I think it's just an awesome innovation. And I applaud Dr. Friday and the NDP, to embrace this. There's a lot of opportunities. And even at the level of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and with that visionary leader that we have in Timothy Antoine, he says, to take CBI to the next level, to continue to deliver sustainable benefits for our islands and our peoples, and to build resilience of our economies, we're going to make sure we strengthen the regulatory framework so you can build confidence in the global partners, in our international partners, and so on. And this is important. And go back to Timothy Antoine and his visionary leadership. He led the way in digitalization in the region in 2019. He and I and ministers of ICT went to the World Bank to argue for digitalization investments. Right now, St. Vincent and Grenadines from those have a $90 million project. So I am saying the leaders in the region whose vision we have embraced in other areas, CBI is no different. CBI is another component of an innovative response of small island states to the economic realities on a global scale. And we're finding our niche and we're taking advantage of it. And I'm fully on board. I'm excited. And every Vincentian should be excited about it. And Joe made a very common sense point about you taking him to lunch. I mean, if that's the argument others are bringing up for not jumping out, watch me. St. Vince will be around for another maybe 1,000 years or so. The point is, it's not like the world is going to end tomorrow. Well, we don't know. But the point is, if there's an opportunity, let's take advantage of it. Let's do it well. Make sure it's sustainable, because we need the money. We need the income, because it drives development. If not, what's the other option? Is tax upright to our death. And that's not a viable option. Thank you.
All right, cool. You don't need the headphones anyway. Yeah. All right. Kongsu, you still there? Let me see if his camera's not on. Kongsu? Yeah. You heard what Philip had to say. Any response? Well, it's basically reinforcing what you would have said a while ago. Anything you want to say?
No, I don't have anything useful to say. So maybe now is a good time for me to take my exit.
Right. Until tomorrow morning. Okay. Same time.
Until we meet again. All the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Philip Jackson is in the studio, and we've been waiting for him. Welcome officially to 6.9. This is your first time here, and I know of you, but I don't know you. This is the first time I'm meeting you officially. My pleasure to meet you, Philip. Are you a member of the New Democratic Party?
Absolutely.
Yes, and you're going to be a candidate in the upcoming election.
I am the official candidate for the New Democratic Party in the wonderful constituency of Morocco.
Okay.
A place where you have deep roots.
I said that yesterday morning, and he didn't believe me.
Oh, come on.
And I'm a Morocco man, yeah. Philip, tell everyone, who exactly is Philip Jackson?
Well, so Philip Cornelius Jackson. I grew up in the picturesque and valley of Morocco, especially in the village of Glenside. Now, Glenside is that village on your way from Mespo to Yambu, right? We grew up in a mainly agricultural environment, but beautiful rivers, mountains, and so on. I grew up in a very big family, being I'm the last of 12 children.
Wow.
Yeah, but family like that was more than just big. We had extended families, so neighbors and cousins and so on. It's like everybody was one big space, and it was a time when families looked out for one another. Your cousins and so on were like your brothers and your sisters, and the village took care and looked out for everybody. They say it takes a village to rear a child, to bring up a child. And I grew up in that era where the village was concerned deeply about each other. They looked out for each other. They looked out for your child behind your back and let you know. And we had a great sense of community spirit. And so I grew up with that. I grew up in a religious family, Adventist. Okay. I'm not the best Adventist right now. No,
but you came for that.
Yeah, but when in my younger days, I saw very well in church, AY leader, that's been Adventist youth leader. I served as Pathfinder leader at 14 years, so very early, my parents set a very great example of hard work because they were farmers. My mother was a housewife and farmer at the same time. They also set a great example of service in the community. I think if you ask most people in Morocco to name 10 people who are really great at service to the community, I'm absolutely certain that Alfred and Jermaine Jackson name would be in the top 10. So we grew up with service because that was part of our being, and community service in church and otherwise. So I grew up, so as the last, I told you I was the last child. So everywhere my parents went, I had to go, because they pulled me along with it. Right. So I had a first-hand view of how to care for community, how to respond to needs, and having my parents the best example of that.
So were you involved in service?
Oh, absolutely.
Community work, did you do?
Well, like through church or whether through clubs.
Community organizations.
Yes, indirectly and directly. I take it as a really great honor that the children in the community, you know what they call me? Uncle Philip.
Okay.
The reason for
Why
that,
is that?
is because I'm always one of those persons of always providing space for children to explore. So on a hike, I'm taking everybody. My car would take 10 people one time. But safely, But the point is, to be called Uncle Philip is not just
it's a respect.
But it also demonstrates how they view me and how I see them and how I relate to them. So I take that as a really great honor. I am also, how else could you describe? I'm a father, 5 children, wonderful children. I think I'm a good father. Most times, I try my best. I wish I'm not as great as Alfred Jackson, my father, but I'm trying, Bill.
Yes. Yeah, you aspire to be that.
And I try to extend my fatherly care and so on to other young boys and so on in the village. Hence, like I said, Uncle Philip. I am a government employee. I'm a professional.
What field in the government?
Service do you work? So right now I'm the Science and Technology Coordinator. Okay. I'm currently in my 5th ministry. So in a real sense, I've been getting a lot of wide government experience. It seems as though those experiences are preparing me for something greater. So I'm in my 5th ministry, which is the Ministry of Education. And my areas of expertise is in, first, I was a biologist at one time. So I started out as a biologist. I taught at the grammar school for a couple of years. I was the head of the science department, gained some very excellent results there. students would always mention me when they're interviewed after doing very well in CXC. But I had a deep passion for science and its connection to development. Okay. And then I move on to innovation studies at Manchester. And then,
well, hold on. We're gonna have to put a pause right there,
sure.
right? And we're gonna talk about your 2-3 level of education and all of that,
right.
and your belief system, not just in your spiritual belief
right.
and all that. We're gonna look at the entire Who's Philip Jackson this morning. But we got another segment from the Prime Minister's office.
Oh,
yes, he's coming in now. So normally we just have to call a guy by the name of Lyndon James, Lyndon James, to get him. All them are comrades. So Lyndon, Vibes Cartel Money, could you please call your partner and tell him we're ready for him to let's go Shady. Let's go with the doctor. It's now time for the press officer and the Prime Minister's secretary, the Candy Man. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he calling on this morning? On the WhatsApp or on the direct line? Here we go. Let's dance, folks. He's so sweet, he gives people diabetes around him. Where is he? Lyndon, you got one job to do every morning. One job you have to do every morning. Where is he? Let's see. Where is he? Nope, he's not there yet.
Bing, I hope he's not running away from me.
Well, I wonder. I mean, it seems to be coming now.
He's a Moroccan man,
he's a mess for man.
Macmillan,
Yeah, he's a mess for man. You know what I mean? And mess for people don't run for mess for people. You know what I mean? No matter what. I mean, come on. That's not like him. Where is he? Shady, where's your partner? It's Lyndon we have to get him, eh? Lyndon Bifit Vibes Cartel Money James. Where's your partner? He going to say, oh, he's sleeping, he wake up late. Jackson, I mean, Jackson had sailed last night. I don't know. He traveled with the Prime Minister. He didn't tell me that yesterday when he was on. So I don't know. It had to be something is up. Buddy, where are you? You know the numbers, 455-1069 or 451-1069. Come on, this is your segment, buddy. Where are you? Sometimes he have a special kind of phone. It is calling, it don't show up. I don't know. You know, like one of them, like when the Prime Minister have the number, don't show up. So, and he have a special kind of vehicle, one like the Prime Minister too. Where is he? Where are you, buddy? We're ready for you. Where are you? Lyndon, you have one job every morning and we have to cuss you for it. Every single morning we have to cuss you for this one job you have to do. Where are you? Let me see if I can get Lyndon myself because I don't call you direct. Let me see. Oh Lord, here he comes.
Zaga, now. Woo, gosh. I feel good this morning, boy. I was having some problems reaching you on the WhatsApp.
Philip, I just have to put up with this every morning, Monday to Thursday, eh?
No, man.
I don't know why. Yeah,
I have to put up with this. Philip said that you're a mess for man.
And people keep calling me too, so I'm glad I get you direct now. Direct! Candy direct, Mr. Sugar!
Good morning, Comrade Shady. You're surrounded this morning, Comrade. Fight on. We got to fight on.
Shady, if you only respond to that. If you only respond to that, I'll fire you again. If you only respond to that.
Good morning, Comrade Philip. How you doing?
Good morning, brother Candyman.
The piece of brother, the label say comrade.
Yes,
I love your response. Straight back at him. Straight back at him.
It's good to hear you on the radio.
Yes, no, I'm same here. I mean, I always appreciate your humor, and I'm proud of you as a Morocco man and what you do in the media and so on. So good stuff.
No, you mustn't say that.
Don't tell you that.
You mustn't say that. Some of your colleagues told Bing the other day, SVG's number one journalist for hire, told Bing the other day, I'm just a comedian. So you gotta congratulate me for being a very good comedian. All right?
Well, at least you make people laugh. So laughter is like good medicine. So in a sense, you're kind of like a doctor, you know, by making us laugh.
That's why I'm the doctor. Ben, good morning and
morning,
good
morning.
Morning.
Morning. I thought you were running from Philip. I say, but Philip is a mess for man. I don't mess with people. Well, I know one mess for man who I know one. I ain't even calling.
I know a mess for man who's running from the job they told him he has to take.
Really?
Again, yeah.
Oh Lord, Philip. Philip, you took off the gloves this morning, buddy.
The only thing that is running Mesco is the rivers.
And Candyman's mouth.
And your mouth. Every day we are put up with it.
And his mouth, yeah.
Yeah, well, my mouth run the place.
You working for your money they say yesterday. They say you work yesterday. You working for your money.
Yeah. That's what my brethren Kishore says, and that brings me around. Shady, are you ready for me there?
Shady, you'll be paid by the Labour Party.
Is he ready? Are you ready with number one, Shady?
You'll be paying you?
Is he?
Yeah, dude.
What is it?
He said yes. He said, I don't know what it is you all have going on.
No. I sat down and I listened to on Monday Dr. Kishore Shallow on the radio talk about CBI. Spent close to 4 hours with you there, about 3 hours really, with you there on the radio. And I have never heard so much nonsense. I think Kishore has gotten too accustomed to walking with turkeys. He's forgetting how to soar like an eagle. And I will come with proof this morning, and I will rebut what he says. But I don't have enough time this morning, so I will spread this out over a series of days, because when you walk into a room and it's so messy, you don't know where to start cleaning. The process is going to take a while, and you must do it thoroughly so that the cleansing of said area is beneficial to the inhabitants. So, let's get to it. First of all, though, I heard a caller on this morning, and the caller was trying to make a distinction for you, Bing. And I want to make that distinction so that you can understand, because it is apparent to me that you and people like you, one, don't know what our law says, and two, do not understand. I will start by saying, imagine the government says, the ULP says, we don't need to build an international airport on Beckway. And the opposition says, you already have an international airport on Beckway. But the same opposition is telling you, vote for us, and we're going to build an international airport on Beckway. I know it sounds kind of crazy, Let me leave that there, and I will come back to it. What does our law say in relation to the granting of citizenship in this regard? Because there, as the caller earlier on explained, the different ways you can become a citizen, through marriage, naturalization, etc. But here's it. The minister. Which minister? This will be the prime minister here in this case, because it falls under his portfolio. The minister may, in his discretion, this is the Constitution, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, cause to be registered as a citizen a person who makes an application under this section for registration as a citizen if that person, A, is of good character and has an adequate knowledge of English language and of the responsibilities of a citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and has over a period of at least 5 years made substantial contribution to cultural or economic growth and development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Has been granted, B, has been granted permission to reside permanently in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. C, is serving or has served in the consular, diplomatic, government, or other public service of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. D, is a stateless person. Or E, a political refugee. That's what the law says. The difference between what we have, and this has been the law, this is James Mitchell time law. This is not new. The difference between that and what the NDP is proposing, the selling of citizenship, is quite clear as day and night to people who have eyes. Our law says you must have direct ties to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In other words, you gotta be here for 5 years, you gotta be on the ground, we have to know you, and so on and so forth. You gotta be hiring people, contributing to us as a nation. As opposed to, you can stay in Hong Kong and order citizenship like it is takeout, like Chinese takeout. You order it on an app, you send the money, and you send the passport and the citizenship to you. Those are two clearly different things. In one program, you can sell passport and citizenship to a man you have never ever seen or known of his existence prior to his application. And in the other, which is what we practice now, which is why we're not overrun by applications, is these people are with us. They actually have a genuine interest and connection with the country. I mean, I don't understand how it is that people can't understand the difference. But some people do. So I just wanted to clarify that. Now let's get back to the other argument. That, St. Vincent and the Grenadines already practices citizenship by investment. Really? Okay, so let me go back to the international airport on Beckway. You are claiming we already have an international airport on Beckway, but gave you the mandate to build an international airport on Beckway. If we already have citizenship by investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, why are you proposing to come to government to establish citizenship by investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Does it make sense? Is either you think everybody dotish, or you ain't got sense. And I think it's not the latter. If we already have it, you don't need to come to government to implement it. You don't need to come to government to go to parliament to pass laws. It's already there on the law books. It's already been practiced. But you know there's a vast difference. Same way there's a vast difference between the airport and Beckway and an international airport. Different guidelines, etc. So I just wanted to clarify that. So let's get to Dr. Shallow. Play number one for me, please, Shady.
What about what the European Union is saying about the program?
So the European Union, and recently there's a case of Malta, right? Now, because it's a union, and they're saying that if you give out a passport, so if you're in Malta and you give out a passport, and we're not comfortable with the due diligence process that you have established, it means that that passport could give you access to the entire Europe, and that is the challenge they have. Right now, if you have a passport of intention passport, it doesn't allow you to go in the other countries or to travel freely. So that's different, and that was the main problem that Malta had because of the union.
Right.
Getting access to an European passport is what caused great discomfort for the other members of the European Union.
But in reality, once you're carrying a passport, you're considered a citizen, correct?
It's a citizenship by that's what it really
right.
is.
All right.
Yes,
So
yes.
cool. So I can, as a holder of a Vincentian passport, can then use my Vincentian ID and go to St. Lucia, to Dominica, and all those other islands without anything. So how is it different than what takes place in the European Union then, and what the European Union is trying to protect?
The European Union laws are slightly different, and again, a massive part of the problem with Malta is that they were not able to withstand the scrutiny in terms of the various checks, with some criminal elements, slipping through the.
Yeah, that was Dr. Shallow. Like I said, this man talks so much untruth, so much nonsense. It's going to take a while to clarify all of this. But I want to read from the ruling. I want to read from the reporting of the ruling because he says, what they really ruled about was that Malta can't, they can't stand up to the standards of due diligence. That's what he says. That's what he says the ruling is about. So, what did the court say about the ruling? I'm going to read from it now. The court specifically condemned Malta's program for establishing a transactional naturalization procedure in exchange for predetermined payments or investments. I didn't hear anything about due diligence there. I want to go back and read that again. Because Dr. Shallow says that the ruling was about due diligence. I don't know if he lied. I don't know if he knew he lied. I don't know if he's intending to lie. Or I don't know if he just doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe somebody told him that and he didn't check it himself. Because if I could get this from the ruling, surely Dr. Shallow could get it. So let me read it again so that people understand what the ruling on Malta was about. The court specifically, you know what specifically means? You don't know what specifically means? The court specifically condemned Malta's program for establishing a transactional naturalization procedure in exchange for predetermined payments or investment, which is what I just spoke about. A man could sit down in Hong Kong and he send you money. He doesn't have any ties. He sends you some money. You send him citizenship. You send him a passport. According to the ECJ ruling, selling citizenship amounts to the commercialization of the grant of nationality of a member state. Did you all hear that? Let me read that again. According to the ECJ ruling, this is what they're against. They didn't say nothing about due diligence. I don't know where Dr. Shallow got that from. According to the ruling, selling citizenship amounts to the commercialization of the grant of nationality. The ruling upholds the Commission's position that EU citizenship requires more than just financial grounds and must establish a genuine connection between the applicant and the member state, which is what we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines now. You must have a genuine connection. The European Union here is making a distinction, a clear and present distinction. It couldn't be more clear. And I don't understand how Dr. Shallow can see this. He's an intelligent man. They're making this distinction. They're saying, if it is something that, like what is practiced in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now, we don't have a problem with that. Because you must have, their position is, let me read again, their position is, the EU citizenship requires more than just financial grounds and must establish a genuine connection between the applicant, that's the person who wants citizenship, and the member state. The court found that Malta's exceptional investor naturalization policy violated this principle. That's the same policy Dr. Shallow and the rest of the NDP is now trying to tell us we should get into. Let me read some more. This legal decision sets a legal precedent that investment-based citizenship programs cannot operate within the EU legal framework without establishing meaningful connections between applicants and the naturalizing state. The ruling also clarifies the balance between EU oversight and national sovereignty in citizenship matters. Oh, Lord. And here is Dr. Shallow on radio telling us, like we can't read for ourselves. Like we don't have the same internet as Dr. Shallow and his other buddies in the NDP. We don't have the same news outlets. Them alone smart. Here he's telling us a completely different story. Oh no, they were just mad at Malta because they were not doing the due diligence correctly. Did you hear anything about due diligence there? Let me continue to read. The ruling compels Malta to terminate its citizenship by investment program entirely, fulfilling the Commission's original demand from October 2020. Malta now remains the only EU member state with such a program after Cyprus and Bulgaria ended theirs. Now, when you hear these NDP people come and tell you, all them European states practicing the same thing, you hear that? None of them. And the only 3 that were remaining between 2020 and now, they have been ordered to shut them down. And if they're shutting them down for their own, you bet your last dollar they're going to shut them down for everybody else who's trying to offer citizenship by investment to get into the... And let me just clarify something here, because this argument that this is the same as, you know, when they went after bananas and so on is completely nonsensical. And I will explain to you.
But you could continue. You could continue that because you're way past your time. You said you're going to do this
Well,
over a period of time. Okay.
I asked you for some extra time today. I did yesterday. Come on.
All right. Okay.
Give me 5 more minutes, please. Give me 5 more minutes, please. All right. I asked you for some extra time yesterday, which you agreed to. No. The point I was making, when the European Court of Justice, I lost my train of thought there. But here's it. So you say, as part of that statement, he said, St. Vincent and the Grenadines passport doesn't have access to all those countries. What is he talking about? You mean to say Dr. Shallow does not know that we have visa-free access to the entire Schengen zone? And that's the reason why our passport is in the top 3 in the region. We have one of the most powerful passports. We do. Bahamas, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, top 3. And guess which one of them sells passport? None. So when he's saying that, citizens and grenadines, you can't use the citizens and grenadines passport to get into any of these countries. What's he talking about? You go to London, you could go to any European country from London with your Vinci passport. You don't need a visa. And that is why these people want to buy a passport, so they can access those places. And the final thing I want to say on that, the nonsense that this is akin to fighting the banana industry. Everybody has a right to determine who they want in their own home. Let's just establish that. We all agree on that. You, Bing, you have a house, you have a home, you have a family. You would decide who you want to invite to your home, and you decide who you don't want to invite to your home. And you decide who you don't want in your home. And that is the case with sovereign states. And if a state, if a country decides, I don't want such and such people in my home, I don't want them to come to my country, I want to scrutinize them myself and decide who I let in and who I don't. But another state provides a backdoor entry. Imagine your neighbor is opening your back door to let people into your house, people that you ask not to come to your house, or call me first before you come to my house. Then you have a right to close the back door. Every sovereign state has this right. So this argument that we're trying to find a way to make some money, well, you can't make money off of violating people's sovereignty. It's nonsensical. Well, the final thing I want to say is, if you're selling keys to get in a back door to a building, and the people who own the building change the entry method to biometrics, what value is the key that you're selling? The key becomes useless. The key becomes worthless. That is what intended. I deliberately use key. What do you let me know?
No, you can't go yet. No, you can't go yet. You can't go yet. You normally say any question. You normally say any questions. So go ahead.
First of all, the use of the analogy with key and biometrics is really poor. Because you don't. When you go to a border, you don't use a key. Biometrics is sure, but anyway, that was a poor one. But Bing.
Well, you didn't get that.
Bing. You see, Dr.
Philip,
Shallow.
you didn't get that.
No, I got that. That's why I'm able to scrutinize and say it's very poor. It was a very poor analogy. But anyway, Dr. Shallow is one of St. Vincent's
Wait, no
most...
man, let the man talk, no man. You don't have a listening ability?
Dr. Kishore Shallow is one of St. Vincent's most eminent young professionals. Brilliant, dedicated, studious, diligent. You know what I'm saying? I heard him speak disparagingly about Kishore. No, man. Kishore, and I have every confidence in Kishore's ability, not only as a professional and has demonstrated it regionally and internationally and nationally, but also when he becomes the MP for North Leeward and a minister of government. But I'm coming back now to
I want you to speak about the issue.
No, I just want to say that first. Yeah. I just want to put that out first. Impeccable gentleman that we all can emulate. So
this is not common entrance class, Philip. You could do better than that.
Let's go. Boy, I listened to Candyman talking about European law and so on. Bing, there was a time when our forefathers, by European law, were nothing but property. Didn't even consider our African forefathers as humans, proper humans. Their laws defined our forefathers and mothers as property, not citizen. So then for the ULP and Chevrolet trying to swim in deep waters, trying to hold on to this European ruling and as if he has to define exactly what we do. It's laughable. Let me tell you something.
Philip,
Law, and he probably doesn't have a proper appreciation of law. Of course, law is a human activity.
Wait, no man, let the man. No.
I don't think we could have. I don't think we could. I mean,
you see, you just
as a scientist, right?
Hold on, Philip. Hold on. You just complain that you want to talk when you're present, so that when you're gone. So listen to the man. Listen to the man.
Philip has been talking for 3 minutes straight, and he hasn't said anything yet.
No, man.
He said, I have to be able to rebut to what.
Yeah, you will. You will get an opportunity, but you spoke for 30 minutes straight. You spoke for 30 minutes straight. The man didn't say a word. He didn't say a word.
I answering no.
You're answering to what?
Yes.
What are you answering to?
He says that I made disparaging remarks against.
No, but that no. We didn't.
I'm just defending my brother Kish. Move on.
Let's deal with the main
Move
issue.
on.
Let's
Kish is superb guy.
I'm gonna answer.
Let's deal with the main issue. Let's deal with the issue. The main issue.
Tell him to deal with the main
issue. Why you fighting up with the next representative of North? Don't fight up with it.
I did tell him to deal with the main issue.
Bing, I clearly said this morning that Kishore is a brilliant young man.
All right, cool. So let's move on. Okay, so let's
so he's a brilliant, and we should follow Kishore. We should be like Kishore. So let's go on.
Go ahead.
Right.
About the Citizen Bank Investment Program.
Yeah.
Let the man speak about it. Let respond to the points that you made in your commentary.
He's not responding to anything I said.
Well, wait, because you keep interrupting. That is what you're trained to do. Don't let people talk.
So you mean Candyman missed that very fundamental point about law and how our forefathers were defined by the same Europeans? But that is a massive point that you should pay attention to. And here you pamper setting about European laws. So let's go. Bing.
How does that tie into the
Bing, laws, and he mentioned the laws of St. Vincent and Grenadines. The law did not drop out of the sky and drop on our plate. People went to Parliament and they created a law in the times in which it was created. So, and that's the standard as it is now. But there is no reason, like any other our OEC's brothers did, they go and they adjust the law to accommodate new possibilities. St. Kitts, I'm sure their law about citizenship in 1984 would have resembled ours, because of course they come from the same legal patrimony of the UK. But they went in, innovative as they are, creative as they are, enterprising as they are, and they changed the law to accommodate the new possibilities.
What about the question of being a sovereign state?
That's an excellent question.
He brought that question.
So St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a sovereign state and has the right and autonomy in international law and by our own constitution to define what citizenship means for us, and you go to the parliament and do so.
Okay, and what about the effects it would have based on the ruling in Malta?
No, absolutely no effect. Malta is a member state of the EU, so obviously with their own internal agreements, etc., they can treat with Malta according to their own laws. But there's never gonna come a point in time when the EU cannot do to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or speak to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or Antigua and Barbuda, or St. Kitts and Nevis the way they speak to Malta, because they're speaking to Malta within a collective framework that they have established. It's like I don't even understand what he's trying to say. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in its own rightful sovereignty, through its parliament, elected members that the people elected will go and adjust the laws to create opportunity. That is how law doesn't drop. Laws do not drop out of the sky. Men make laws to deal with challenges. And I am sure, like St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, created laws to accommodate the similar. We will do the same.
Okay, you want to respond?
And the European Union is cannot citizens and
Philip, let's hold. You say you want to respond. So let him respond.
Let me back. I agree with you, and I thank you very much for pointing that out. We don't have a citizenship by investment program. You would have to go to the court to alter our laws so that we can have it. Thank you for that. And I agree with you 100% that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has the right to do so. And no other nation should or can dictate to us how we frame our citizenship laws. That's also factual. The point that you missed is that other countries have the same right. And the point I made about changing the entry method went over your head. The people are saying...
So we're going to say the European are going to punish us by saying, you know what? No entry into Europe. I really don't think that's going to happen.
Let me talk now. You don't get your chance. You don't get your chance. You spend a whole heap of time saying nothing. Let me talk now. The people are saying you are free to change your laws and to admit whoever you want to admit as citizens. But we will not allow them to enter visa-free anymore into our country. And that is also their right. That's the point I'm making. We have a right, and so do they. They have a right. Now, the point about the entry now is saying if you are selling a passport that allows people, the value of the passport is that it allows people to enter all these countries visa-free. When they implement visa restrictions, the passport doesn't have the same value.
But the European Union tell you they're going to do that, Candyman. The European Union, what was the fair-mongering about? Bill, in international law. The European Union, we have a long history of relationship with Europe. I am sure there's going to be conversations at heads of state about, you know, and I'm sure the framework is going to settle around. Listen, I understand what you guys are doing. I understand the importance of what you're doing. But here, I'm going to help you to build the program in such a way that the due diligence is strong, and you know, and so on, and the scrutiny is strong, and so on. I'm sure that is how it's going to end up. But this fair-mongering is this gentleman trying to speak for the European Union about what the European Union is going to do, and using some some analogy that doesn't even make sense to prove his point. You cannot speak for the European Union. I am very sure. Look at the ECCB. I told you the ECCB has now established a very high-level committee to look at the regulatory framework to strengthen it further. And I'm sure the European Union, in good faith, is going to engage with our politicians, the NDP government, in the next couple of months, and the governments of St. Kitts and Nevis and so on, and say, guys, let's see how we could make sure that the framework is stringent. We get the best out of it. I think that is what is going to happen. Look, when James Mitchell, in his very deep vision, established the financial services sector, that was a really innovative opportunity to gain income in an otherwise restricted economic space. I mean, the Europeans had some issues with it. What did they do? They came and they had discussions and so on, and they changed some stuff and so on to make it, put in a stronger, a stronger footing and so on. So this is the same thing that's going to happen. There's no need for no fair-mongering. You cannot speak, Mr. Grenadines, Gonsalves, and you cannot speak for what the European Union will do. And stop the fair-mongering. It's a great opportunity, the CBI, and to talk to his question about CBI. Of course, CBI, as defined by law in these other countries, is not practiced in St. Vincent and Grenadines, obviously. That even within the existing framework, something that a reasonable individual, if they were given the facts, if the government were to be transparent and open up all of the books about who got citizenship and under which condition, a reasonable observer might be able to conclude that we have effectively you have a CBI program, and so the hypocrisy needs to stop. And Gonsalves is ranting and ranting philosophy. People can't eat philosophy, Bing. People can't eat philosophy. He says that citizens is the highest office of the land. You tell me why the Europe treat the citizens like the highest office of the land. Police brutality day after day. All sorts of violations. The vaccine mandate. You could tell me that the Europe treats Vincentian citizens as the highest office of the land? Where? We cannot eat philosophy, young man. And you guys are preaching philosophy. And the only alternative is to tax us to death. This is what the European wants to do.
Let's say his final comment. Let's get final comment. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. I'm interested. I'm enjoying this. Let's go. Go ahead.
So after Philip done rant and say nothing, he asked if the European Union told me personally that they're going to clamp down on CBI. As though Philip has not been paying attention to anything in the media for the last 3.5 or so years. Then you know that about 2 years ago, they started the process and it's going through the various stages. The latest of which I'm going to read. This one was published March 29, 2025. I can send it to you, Philip, if you want, so you can read it. Because obviously, you know.
Making Candyman, you're saying that the European Union, you're saying exactly what the European Union is going to do, and whatever you're going to say makes my point. Bing, is in international law and international relations. There's going to be an exchange at the highest level about the program, and I could almost imagine that the end point of this program is not going to be like complete cut off of the Caribbean to Europe. It's going to be about how to make it stronger, better, stronger.
Let him finish.
Like you said,
hold on. Let him go ahead, finish. Go ahead, Candyman. Go ahead. You meet your match this morning, boy.
The man wants to preempt what the European Union will do. How will you do that?
Hold on. I didn't know Philip got so much fire in you, boy. Mess for man! To mess for man, mate!
Trevor must know when I speak. I'm from astute person, gentlemen.
The reason why Philip going to get him back cut in Morocco is exactly what carrying on this morning. Let him go ahead.
Well, it's okay now, but I'm for the people. I am 100% for the people of Morocco. I am not a hired hand. I got into this politics. I got into politics because I believe Morocco people has tremendous potential that is not realized. And I am simply saying, give me a chance to combine your potential with my vision and transform Morocco.
Let him wrap up. Candyman.
You get two responses from people in Morocco when they hear Philip running. Either who is that? No. Let me read this thing here. The EU Parliament passes new CBI regulation for Caribbean nationals. The European Parliament Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs, LIDE, has approved amendments to the European Union visa regulations that could potentially end visa-free access to the EU for countries running citizenship by investment programs in the Caribbean. This could potentially threaten the visa-free access to the EU for several third countries offering citizenship in exchange for investments, including our 5 nations, Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. The proposal was voted 41-10 in favor of the amendment by the committee in charge of implementing VSM. Golden passport programs in several European countries offer citizenship to wealthy non-EU nationals in exchange for financial investments. And you just heard that they are bringing those to a close. Investor citizenship schemes listed in Annex 2 of Regulation EU 2018 non-EU nationals who would otherwise be subject to visas. The European Parliament's report suggests suspending visa exemption for third countries operating these schemes which grant citizenship without any link to the third country concerned. Now, if you see that coming out of the European Union, you see that that is the direction they're going, and you conclude that there's no way in hell they're going to put visa restrictions on countries that are selling passports, when that is exactly what they're saying they're about to do, well then, I don't know how I could help you. And with that, I go on.
Have a good day.
What did you bring you know?
What if you know me knows?
Yeah, out. Let's go Shady to the top and come right back. Philip Jackson's in the studio. I'm sure he's going to want to respond. We're going to take your calls as well. The phone's ringing, but we not can't take your calls just as yet. We got to do station ID at the top. Take me away, Shady. Go ahead.
SVG starts with OMG in the morning on the trending station. Wake up with the real Badman Bing and DJ Shady.
Filthy people fed up with selfish. Remember you can't see wheel. Honest veil. Robbers. Captain! Set the sail! Set the sail! Set the sail! Set the sail! Well pussy! Well pussy! Well pussy! We got him done! We got him done! We got him back wet! We got Jana one! Make it! Well pussy! Well pussy! Well pussy! Well we got him done! We got him done! We got him back wet! We got union! Make it! Well pussy!
All right, we're gonna let you deal with this, and then we have to take a commercial break. Sure. All right, so go ahead.
Bing, what Candyman read is no different from what I'm saying. Of course, they're looking at the matter, but Bing, in international relations and law, the EU is obviously going to be negotiating with our countries about this matter. So what Cheryl is trying to say, as if it's a done deal, it's not. And our ECCB and the committee in its responsible mandate, what we're trying to is to strengthen our program. And so it's what is needed. And I'm sure the European Union will appreciate how important a lifeline something like the CBI is, especially for small, vulnerable states with climate change and natural disasters and so on. So it's an ongoing discussion. And I'm very sure our leaders, including the next Prime Minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines, Dr. Godwin Friday, when in the negotiating with his counterparts in Europe, and his counterparts in the OECs make a strong case as to why we need a strong, robust CBI program that has a very strong framework that does the due diligence and so on. And I'm sure they will also lend their intelligence service to help us to strengthen the due diligence aspect of it. This is how international law and international relations happen. And I'm sure they would understand the critical importance of this program to the survival and resilience of our economy.
Why do you say that he's pushing fair and the ULP is pushing fair factor?
Yeah, that's
why
what
do you
they're
say
doing.
That? Why?
But that's what he's doing. He's making it sound as if anytime tomorrow, no, we can't go, we can't enter the European Union with our passport. That is not true. If you notice a keyword he keeps repeating in reading, potential. Of course, these countries, they study different scenarios. Their think tanks, their committees, they study different scenarios to give an opinion to the politicians. But ultimately, the politicians are the one who make the decisions. And we could take out something out of the book of the European Union. We hardly study anything here in St. Vincent properly. We could hardly have access to information here. Everything seems to be a secret. Why you think you could go and read up so much about the European Union and you could hardly find enough to read up on St. Vincent and Grenadines? You see the difference? So I'm simply saying, no different from what he's saying. The Europeans are looking at the matter, they're discussing and so on and so forth, and there will be negotiations at the political heads and so on. And I'm sure our next government and the OECS member states who practice CBI will be able, with our institutions in the region, to make a strong case to the European politicians as to why we need to keep this. But we would love to have your help to make it as robust as possible, to make sure that the due diligence is happening. Help us with the intelligence, because you have great intelligence service and so on, to make sure that only deserving persons get in. And I think that is the way it's going to happen. And so we can't just sit down here and throw up our hands. We have to be creative. What if James Mitchell said, oh boy, by law, the finance, when the European Union came at it, and blacklisted and so, we worked together with them. Even this European government worked further to put it on a sounder footing. That is how development occurs. That is how international relations occur within international law. I don't think the European want to just bomb us out of existence. No, we would have a robust and open discussion about how to make the thing better. The point is, we're getting on board. Vincentians have a great opportunity to bring income that could offset the massive debt. Listen, St. Kitts and Nevis gained $4.5 billion through this program between 2015 and now. That is more than our national debt. Why would we find all of the money? We have different ways of getting income, but it's a tremendous help. It therefore means the other alternative is to tax Vincentians to death, and that's what they're already doing. People can't move a sneeze because they don't have any space, financial space, and to do things. You have people, public servants with big jobs. Hardly anybody in St. Vincent and Grenadines Bing has 2 months savings or 3 months savings. If we were to do a survey right now, you're not only talking about people working in stores, people working in big offices. Most of them you will find out do not have 3 months savings in the bank or under the mattress or wherever. It's really tough. So a creative, responsible government like those in the OSS and so on is trying their best to find opportunities within a global landscape, a niche where they can operate, and they're building the legal and regulatory framework that gives them the opportunity to sustainably do so. And we will communicate to our development partners in Europe and wherever to say, listen, this is critical to us. Please help us to make it better. I'm listening to your concerns. We want to hear your concerns, but please help us to make it better. And that is what is going to happen. That is what is happening. That is why the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has set up this regulatory committee to put the thing on a more strong. It's already very strong, but a stronger footing. Why? To give sustainability to it. You know why? It's important. It's a lifeline that we need, and we cannot eat philosophy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Enough of the double standards and the hypocrisy. This is time to be innovative about finding creative spaces for economic development for our citizens. And that is exactly what we're doing. And that is the message we have for our international partners. Let's work together. It's one global village. You know what I mean? Europeans like to come here too, not true? Now, come on. One global village. Help us. We have suffered many centuries of colonial domination and so on. Like I said before, European laws designated our forefathers as property of other men, not citizens. So the aspect of law changes with time, okay? And law is about managing human affairs and relationship with each other. And I'm very confident that working together with the other prime ministers in the region, that Dr. Friday as the new prime minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines, and with Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and other important institutions in the region, we can have a really fruitful discussion with the European Union and all others who have similar issues on how to make the thing work. It's going to work. No need to be fearful of anything. It's going to work. We need it, and it can do a lot for us. Trust me. If not, the alternative is more taxes coming your way and no savings at all to do anything. Your child gets sick tomorrow, you have to get 1,000 barbecue to raise funds. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Jomo made a very commonsensical point to you. The possibilities there, let's exploit it to the fullest extent possible and invite our development partners to help us do it. If there comes a point in time that the global conditions change and it dries up, then so be it. So why piss on it now? Why crap on it now? It's an opportunity, and this is the possibility framework and focus that the NDP has, because the global landscape is there. We have to do the kind of work to identify, Bill, where are the niches for exploitation. Where we have to have our scholars, our civil servants or politicians scanning. Where is the next opportunity? Where is it? Augmented reality? Is it virtual reality? How do we use consumer trends to create new products and services to meet a growing need? We have to keep doing that. And Team NDP, Bing. Team, sorry to call you Bill out there. You didn't even correct me.
That's all right.
Bing. Team NDP. You ever really watched the team properly? And line it up with the bunch of lawyers in the ULP? When I talk about innovation and about men and women equipped to really do this sort of innovative work that is necessary to take St. Vincent forward, that's Team NDP. You know? I have a background in innovation management from the world famous Manchester Business School. Kishore, a deep experience in computer science and the new economy, digitalization. You know what I'm saying? We have the capacity, but not just the capacity now. We have the can-do spirit. Not philosophy, now. Our philosophy is people first. Citizens first. Our people first, giving them opportunities. And there's nothing wrong in conceiving St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a global village where we create this sort of framework to bring global citizens to be part of the SVG enterprise. We need that. If people would leave, but you need people to come in and talking about this. I wouldn't make that point. But the point is, we need global citizens who are excited about St. Vincent and the Grenadines find a way to become part of SVG enterprise, bring their money, but bring their expertise, bring their experience, bring their network to build a really thriving St. Vincent and Grenadines whose borders are beyond the 150 square miles, and that is the possibilistic, innovative, creative thinking that Team NDP brings. That other team has nothing. All they do is parrot what one man says, whose ideas are outdated. I'm telling you, his ideas were for a time in the 1960s and so maybe a little later, but no longer. He has the capacity to envision a global St. Vincent in a global space, working with interested partners to create a really thriving and a really sustainable space for economic development of our people. And this is what Team NDP brings. And I'm telling you, I'm so excited about Team NDP. I've worked regionally, internationally, locally in this space of innovation and digitalization. So I know about these things deeply, and I'm so excited that Dr. Friday was able to very astutely frame the development among the 4 pillars of agriculture, tourism, the new economy and the blue economy. That's like awesome stuff. And I want Vincentians to get excited about this. And I want them to see the CBI as just one important component in a greater structure. We're going to have this thing, and St. Vincent and Grenadines people vote for this. It seems as though the ULP wants to make this election about this CBI. He wants to make the election about philosophy, Gonzalez philosophy, his bogus philosophy about citizenship, which he doesn't practice, as opposed to creating real possibilities to help to drive economic development in the country, which we so needed. Like need. So I would not allow people who are very comfortable, possibly millionaires, possibly children who are very comfortable, come and dictate to me, who are struggling, and say, eat this philosophy, no CBI in St. Vincent and Grenadines, boom, we tax you to death. That's what you would get. That's what you deserve, and be content with it, because he basically said, I've given you all you deserve. The only thing I can't do is pave the streets of gold. I heard him say so. It's like, what is that? That's how low the ULP has us, and that's their opposition to the CBI is because they really do not want the best for us. They just want their ideas and their philosophy to dominate, because that's what they care about. We have serious problems, we have serious struggles. Our people need serious help. CBI is part of that solution. We're going to have it because the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines are wise enough to say, hey, hold up, enough of your long talk. We ain't going with that. We want to give us yourself opportunities like St. Kitts does and Dominica does and Antigua and so on. Let's give the thing a chance. And Team NDP is your team for better St. Vincent Grenadines.
All right, Philip Jackson's in the house, people, and he's going to be with us right through. Tell you what, we're going to take. I know you all are calling. I know everybody want to get in, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. I know Dr. Shallow also want to get in to respond to some of what was said as well, too. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we come right back. Don't you move, and muscle. We firing on all cylinders this morning right here on OMG. In the morning. Let's take a quick break and come right back. Shady, take me to
Wake up with the real Badman Bing and DJ Shady. Money Matters on Boom 106.9, a sound setter of radio.
Never got no one that back calling me splurge. Watch me jump right off the curb.
New year, different lane.
We gon' spin and kill everybody. And we're telling now. Bend that over. Let that breathe. Shake that.
Boom 106.9.
Hands on your knees.
Unleash the sound revolution now on Boom 106.9.
You're watching IKTV, channel 112. It's all about you.
Paddler's Diapers. Paddlers for comfort, care, and cost. Absorbent, long-lasting diapers for babies and adults. I will only give my loved ones the best. Paddlers are available at Lanes and selected distributors. Lanes, the family store for value.
This isn't just a run. With each step begins a new journey. A journey of determination, persistence, and self-discovery. With each step, I embark on a quest to push myself beyond expectations, beyond standards. Each stretch, a reminder of the flexibility of the human spirit. With each step, I am breaking barriers. As I push to the finish, I'm filled with pride. Not just for what I've achieved today, but for the journey that has brought me here. This isn't just a run. It's a testament to the human spirit, and I am here for it. Island Sips. Beyond standards, beyond expectations, beyond water.
Meet Mom. She's not just the wake up at the crack of dawn, make breakfast and pack bags kind of mom. She also gets her fitness game on. Yeah, she's the don't let anyone forget anything kind of mom. the same time, she's the runs her own business, closing deals kind of mom, who finds time to get down and boogie with the kids after school, remodel the house, bake cake, host dinner, and even play her favorite game at the end of the day kind of mom. So let's celebrate mom, because to us, she's so much more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. "85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you."
You're watching IKTV, channel 112. It's all about you.
For that.
Lighting up SVG on Boom 1069.
There's only one way to do it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. This is how we just do it. Last night wasn't your last night, but today could be your last day. So let me celebrate today. Yeah, yeah. Yesterday was yesterday, but tomorrow we don't know. So let me commemorate this date. Yeah, and let me do this one big, 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 gigantic, bombastic. Let me do this big, 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 real big, fantastic. So put your hand in the air and let me do this in grand style. In grand style, celebrating a fine style. In fine style, let me do this huge, red huge. Let me do this monstrous, boisterous. All of us put something up in the air. Crazy for the world to see. Let me act every day in history and embrace the moment. Let me cherish the moment and enjoy the vibes while we are alive. And let me tell you, there's no type of fighting, no feelings floating, only good vibes floating. That's what we talking.
All right, well, Philip, you certainly created a stir on the Facebook Live, on the WhatsApp.
Being I'm just talking from my heart, from a place of deep care.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what stirs me. Deep care.
All right, we got some calls coming. Got a lot of them who calling in. Let's see. Good morning. Is this my buddy here, Dr. Shallow? Good morning to you.
Good morning, Big. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, bro?
How things, Philip? You're doing an awesome job this morning, man.
Thank you. Coming from someone like you, I'm humbled.
I'm sure the people of Morocco are extremely proud right now and beaming.
That's the reason I'm here.
You know, Bing, I've known Philip for about 20 years. In fact, at my first job with the government in 2009, I'm at the Ministry of Technology. Philip was there and he mentored me, you know, gave me great guidance in terms of how to settle not only in the government service, in the ministry, but, you know, in terms of technology itself. And, you know, since then he has elevated his own profile, not only in St. Vincent and Grenadines, but regionally and internationally from attending major seminars and so on. And I could tell you that he is certainly one of the leading minds in science and technology across this Caribbean. In fact, I would go even further and say that if Philip wasn't someone who was marginalized over the years because of his support of change and the New Democratic Party, he would have received far greater opportunities to transform our technology and our digital space in this country. So a fellow of great resilience, and Philip, like I said, keep up the great job, man. You know you have my full support all the time.
To working with you in a new government.
Yes, man, of course. But Bing, I just wanted, and I'm going to be brief because I obviously don't want to steal much of Philip's time. But I think it was critical that I call in and address a couple of things that was mentioned by our friend Candy. As I said on the program on Monday, Candyman is paid to do this job, and most of what Candyman says, we know that he doesn't believe it, right? He knows better, but it is his job, and so he goes and he comes on the program with a script and he reads. You know, and it is what it is.
Nah, my buddy don't.
But
Nah. Don't say that about my buddy, man.
But I guarantee you that Candyman believes that St. Vincent will be far more advanced with adopting this City Super investment program. I guarantee you that. I have absolutely no reservation that Candyman within him knows that, and which is why I'm saying he's only saying what he's saying because he's paid. And we'll deal with that another time. But he spoke about ULP pretty much doing an investment program so far. And he said, well, why vote NDP if it already exists? Right? Now, I'll tell you why. And yes, I do agree with Candyman that it exists under the ULP administration. But as it is not foolproof. Right? The system is not structured in a way that it is transparent and we could hold anyone accountable. Hence, when a fellow like David Ames could come in here, a criminal, right? We don't even know what is his contribution to get that citizenship. Yes, he built Bookman Bay Resort, but what else, right? There's another fellow named William Wiz. I don't know if you all remember him. The Millennium Bank scenario, right? And there are others. That list that Prime Minister Gaston Brown had on screen when there was the presentation the other day on the radio in Antigua and Barbuda. There's a list of them and we could call names, right? So yes, there's the practice. But what the NDP, what the New Democratic Party under the esteemed leadership of Dr. Godwin Friday is going to implement, what we are going to implement is a robust program where there are checks and balances in place, where we are accountable to Vincentians, and where we are going to produce and generate millions of dollars initially and billions over a period of time, which would then translate to better jobs, are better paid jobs in the country, significantly more jobs, improve infrastructure, improve healthcare system, and you could go on and on. Agriculture and everywhere going to benefit from this. So yes, there's a common practice of citizenship by investment now, but we are saying we can do far better than this by structuring this in a way as our neighboring countries have regards to establishing one regulatory framework across the region that will protect us. And I'll jump to the situation of Malta that Candyman mentioned. And again, I know Candyman doesn't know what he speaks about because he reads one line from a judgment from the European Union, right? And he comes here and he pampers it and get on like if that is it. No, Candyman. If you do your own research, you will understand exactly why Malta, right, dismantled their program, or why it was abolished. Because of the fact, again, that yes, in the European Union, that space that Malta operates, right, that passport is actually accessible across it. But in the Caribbean, the difference about us in the Caribbean, not only we are an independent state, but our neighboring countries are practicing CBI. So we won't be as affected as Malta does. But let me jump to the real point here, and I spoke about on Candyman, please, when you come on the radio, especially when you're challenging somebody like me, come with your facts and do not misrepresent my point and my facts that I made. Because you cannot say truthfully that I said St. Vincent and Grenadines passport cannot access other countries, right? Because I spoke to how mobile our passport is. I spoke about most of the Caribbean islands passport can access up to over 140 countries in the world. And I said explicitly, that is why our passport and our citizenship is so attractive. But I will go even further. The same Malta, despite they were practicing citizenship by investment program, so currently we can access 146 countries globally. Malta, despite they were practicing citizenship by investment, they could access 171 countries globally. So if it is really a case of citizenship by investment, then why isn't Malta banned from accessing these countries? St. Kitts and Nevis, who is the longest in terms of representing, using or implementing this citizenship by investment program, they started in 1984. They can access, versus our 146, they can access 148 countries in the world, right? So if it's a case of citizenship by investment program that you can't access countries, then why is St. Kitts able to access more countries than ours? Do you know that Jamaica, that countries? So when you're talking about mobility of passport, you have to look into the facts. You have to get the information, right? And that is why I do not want our people to be fooled by this administration, this ULP administration, who just comes and they just throw out a loose comment, believing that the intentions are foolish, right? So when they come and say, oh, we're not going to sell with passport, they just say, oh, yes, we're not going to sell with passport. And we think that, as I have mentioned before on the program, the Citizen by Investment Program, or the immigration program, as some call it, it has evolved tremendously. It has evolved so much so that companies are lobbying that these citizen by investment programs, the countries that adopt them, they can actually improve the mobility of the passport. And I'll just leave with one final point, just to cement that we have been practicing citizen by investment program here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? But just not in a formal and a structured way that the intentions, or the majority of intentions, could benefit tremendously.
Transparency and accountability.
That is it, Philip. St. Vincent and Grenadines in recent years, I think it was around 2018, changed the legislation for international banking companies. So there's nothing that stops companies, international companies, from being taxed parents in Vincent Grenadines and owning property there. So it's been program A. All the NDP is saying, we are going to show, just like in every other thing, this is not a unique situation, just like how we are going to show the government how to elevate our living standards, how to improve agriculture and sports and everything else that you'll hear Philip talk about there. We are going to show them how to implement a robust, transparent, citizen investment program that would benefit every Vincentian. And I thank you for your time, Bing. Philip, continue the great job.
Thanks,
We'll
my
catch
brother.
up later
God
on.
bless. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was Dr. Shallow calling. We continue to take your call. Philip, you're very passionate about this program. Before you respond, let me take another call because they're going to keep coming. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning to the big Badman of Radio. Nice to have you back. I hope you're feeling much better. I am myself and recover. Let me say good morning to your guests, and let me say good morning to Mr. Shadow, the powerful man, the man with everything that he has that making the government throughout the day be shaky. And it was yesterday when he was on the program, or the day before yesterday. Those guys were so scared to come on the program and interact with him, but they always wait until he goes off to say what they want to say. And you see the man he is, he could come back like here today and see what he said and make them aware that he's not down, he's listening. And for your guest that is in the program there, I never know he had so much steam in him, And I want to say, Bing, I wish that you could use your platform to invite the others to come, which is the others on the government side.
I'm going to tell you, the business I running, it is not a political station, the business I running.
No, well, Bing, this is where the debate is, This is your station is listened throughout the country, throughout a lot of the islands. And my cousin in America listened to your program, and my sisters listen to your program on mornings, Bing. And I could tell you that they listen to what is happening within the country, because this is the only way that they can hear. And when you have a program where our representative who are going to represent us come and speak out, this is how we know who the people are. I would like you to invite the man who represents Maracua to come on your platform and stand up like this man is doing right now, and come out and speak to the people of Maracua and surrounding, can hear him as well. Come out, don't just walk around going to shops and sit down and drink and talk to you guys up there. Come and let people hear you, let the nation hear you, like what this guy is doing right now, the representative who wants to represent them now. How long that we have been listening to our Prime Minister, who alone has one voice in his party. Nobody else could speak. The rest want to read from a script that he writes for them and tell them what to say. He is a man who wants the intention to believe. When he says something, you must believe. But when the New Democratic Party and the candidates come and speak, you mustn't believe. Don't believe them because they don't know what they're saying. But let me tell you, it's the best team that the NDP has ever had for a long while. Since in the days of Mr. Louis Jones and them. This team now that they have here is a team that I see that could move St. Vincent forward for the best and benefit of my children, my grandchildren, and others. And the crimes that we are having here in St. Vincent today being, I know that the New Democratic Party will come, and the first thing that they will look to do is to deal with the crime situation that we have here.
All right.
The crime situation that we have, we need to fix, and
All right,
we need to fix it now. Gentlemen, have a wonderful day and continue keeping the heat, and don't make nothing turn you back.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Form government this election.
Thank you, Philip. Like you can't get a chance to talk, and the calls I gotta take them. Good morning, caller on the fixed line. Good morning.
Good day, brother. I'm going to be very short.
You got to be very short.
Yes, my brother. I just want to say that I am the only man who sends your station information on. All
right, thank you.
No, let me finish now. No. The information that they're giving is very shallow.
All right, okay, thank you very much. You can talk about it tomorrow morning at the usual time. Thank you very much. I want to hear I want to speak to Philip a little bit more, but I just can't get the
No,
opportunity.
that's okay. I want to hear the people.
Yeah.
I want to hear the
Caller,
people.
good morning on the WhatsApp. Good morning.
Good morning, Bing.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Shady. And a special good morning to Mr. Philip Jackson.
Good morning.
Who I fervently hope would be the next representative for the wonderful constituency of Mariaqua. I just wanted to add just a 2 cents worth to the discussion regarding the CBI as a way also of rebutting what Candyman said. Now, let's look at the economic dimension. I looked up the debt to GDP ratio of 3 or 4 of the OECS countries that currently has a CBI program. I think St. Lucia stands as of fiscal year 2023 around 74%. Still not in the best shape, but they're hoping to, by 2030, to lower it to 60%, which is the globally established economic sustainability level. Antigua, which as of, I think, 2022 had a debt to GDP ratio of 100%, is now down to approximately 67%. Grenada, I think, stands around 64%. As a matter of fact, I think as of fiscal year 2023, Grenada's national debt was 59% of its GDP. So Grenada is in pretty good shape. St. Kitts, I think, stands around in the lower 60s also. I can't remember the exact figure. And the reason why I quoted those figures is to issue a comparative analysis between their debt management, their fiscal responsibility, and ours. Our debt to GDP ratio in St. Vincent and the Grenadines stands at a whopping 93%. So when Grenada can spend 64% out of every dollar to service their debt, we are spending 93 cents out of every dollar to service our debt. So who are more sustainable? And in every single one of them, the Citizenship by Investment program played a role in getting them to where they are. But yet we pamper setting about European Union and this and that and whatever. Let's deal with our own house before we look at how dirty somebody else's house is. Thank you, Philip. Have a blessed day, man.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yes, Philip. I wanted to get into some other stuff about yourself and the constituency of Mariaqua, because we got Dr. Richards coming up in a bit. Let's talk about Mariaqua.
Yes.
And I know there are a number of other issues that you wanted to get into. The Citizenship by Investment program, the CBI program. I know you've got so much more to say on it and about it, and other stuff that I know that you wanted to talk about. Let's talk about Mariaqua. What are your plans for Mariaqua? What keeps you awake at night when you think about Mariaqua, the constituency of Mariaqua?
Bing, when I think about Mariaqua, I beam, I smile. You know why? Because Mariaqua has such tremendous potential, and some of it has been proven many, many years ago. We have 3 secondary schools in Mariaqua, right? Mm-hmm. 5 primary schools. Do you know that all 100% of our secondary schools were established by churches? I'm going to say world famous now. I mean, Bumpan Society, the Mariaqua Friendly Society.
That's been going on a while, eh?
For decades. Another Mariaqua invention. We had one of the only village credit unions in St. Vincent and Grenadines, the Mariaqua Cooperative Credit Union, now taken over by KC. See, why am I saying this, Bill? We have had a deep, rich history of people coming together, examining their circumstances, bring their best minds together, create solutions, and implemented them. that drove the spirit of Morocco. So we have that rich heritage. But you know what has happened under the ULP? I'm telling you, you know, when I was speaking earlier about growing up, we had this tremendous community spirit. The ULP came in, worship, as he is the only one enough for everybody, and created this divide and rule. This divide and rule way of doing things. So much so that community spirit in the villages in America almost came to almost Bill. Bing. What am I calling you, Bill?
I don't know.
Bing. Who are afraid to be seen standing up with me, talking. That never used to be. There was a time when after elections, everybody was one again. People were able to come together, do things for each other without having to worry about a politician spying on them. And not only spying on them, treating them in ways that if they step outside of line, they might not get a poor relief, might not get a walk on the road, and so on. So we have to change that. When right now, as it is, the ULP's way of doing things, making people afraid of themselves, is stifling the potential of Morocco and villages all across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have to put an end to this nonsense. This is my philosophy. And you know, I don't talk about philosophy, but this is a practical one that makes sense. For me, being if I spend 10 years as the MP for Morocco, and at the end of it, we have very strong community groups. Then without fair own dictates, I'll be happy. So I sum it up this way: what? I, Philip Jackson, the politician, must decrease. I must decrease. So the people, my vision and my approach is to create the space where we can bring out the best of our people, the best of the potential to walk and raise whatever, and just keep loving each other, being each other's brothers and sisters keeper, and walking together with each other. Now, there's a tremendous amount of potential there, but there's something else which I mentioned earlier when I talk about the SVG enterprise, where we can create the conditions for global citizens to come to be part of SVG. Now, there's something I describe as global goodwill. What I mean by that is that there are people out there who want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They may not be religious people going to church every day, but for them, their spirituality is to support a cause that is bigger than them. And they have money. These people have money. Billions of dollars. I read Bill Gates is ready to offload billions of dollars, but what is he looking for? He's looking for strong community groups that are transparent, accountable, inclusive, you know what I mean? Cares for each other and the environment, and so to offload to one of my big plans for Morocco. Morocco will become the number one constituency for robust community groups to unlock this local and global potential. And we have to be able to create the conditions for our people to organize to unlock it. So that's one of my major plans. And then from there, we branch it out. Talk about education. I've studied the education statistics in Morocco. And for the last 15 years or so, only one single student from Morocco ended up in the top 10 for CPA. I am promising you, working together with our teachers, principal, parents, as well as community mentors, that figure is going to change in a very short order. I am committing us, the people of Morocco. We want no less than 3 top students in CPA, in the top 10. 3 students in the top 10. And it's possible. But it's not possible now because there's not the sort of leadership and organization of people that is necessary to do that. Everybody seems to be fighting on their own. Students are struggling, but the education system seems to cater mainly for the top students, the elite students. I want to activate a sense of responsibility and community among Morocco people to say, hey, I'm putting up my hand. I want to be a mentor of students in the primary school. I have some time, I have some skills. Count me in, Philip. Sign me up. I want to be a mentor. I want to be part of a homework club where me and myself and others would hold 10 students in an afternoon, help them with their schoolwork, struggle with them, be an example. You know what I mean? This is the sort of stuff we need to get going. It's totally absent. And poor parents, not only just poor parents, but struggling students who just need extra help to get by. The system is not really catering for them. We will change that.
Okay, we got Dr. Richards backstage. He's going to come. But I need to ask you, what has always been known as a breadbasket.
Yes.
And not just of St. Vincent, but of the Caribbean, of the OECS. Do you have any plans?
Of course. And I was coming to that because that's the thing people talk about most, but I wanted to show you that there are other opportunities. Absolutely. Fertile soils, hard-working people, but the support structure to really push and encourage a new type of agriculture as a business is totally absent. I see they're doing something in Lacko, recently. I put out a video a couple of weeks ago to show the dilapidated condition in which the Lacko boxing plant was in, and my plans to make it a depot for farmers to come to bring their produce. Now they're trying to do this very same thing, rushing to do it. But being the way forward for agriculture in Morocco with my leadership is to make sure that our young people as well as older ones see agriculture as a business, as an investment, and we will provide the sort of information and the support structures you need to treat it as such, including funding. You will be able to pick up a booklet, a dossier, if it's dasheen you're interested in, and read every single thing you need to know about dasheen. You know, from clearing the lands, planting, taking care of it, right down to the marketing. You know why that information is important? With all the figures, so that now you could see the money in the thing, you could see the potential, but not just you only. Persons who banks and credit unions can also see the figures and say, well, wait. Look, the thing here, money is here to be made. I'm getting in. I'm going to support people. But we also says the NDP is going to have a development bank that could help you to fund your agricultural investment. We need to shift agriculture from something that older men used to do to something that young people and professionals want to invest in. So using knowledge, technology, finance, and the proper structure in terms of technical support to really invest in agriculture. And more than that, my plan with that same place in Lacko and other places, instead of farmers just benefiting from selling their produce, right? They could focus on the production. We will focus on the marketing for them. But hey, what? We're going to encourage them to form cooperatives and groups, and they're going to have a share in the marketing. So they're making money all out. They call it value chain or value web. They're getting money from selling to the depot of the marketing board depot, but they're getting money also from the sale of the final product overseas. So you see, for all of their work, they're getting a greater share that they rightfully deserve. That doesn't exist now. And the only government and the only person in Morocco who is thinking deeply about these things, have a plan, working and improving it by talking to people in the industry, that's Philip Jackson. This is a great opportunity. I'm so excited about working together with the people in Morocco because the potential is great. What is missing is the leadership.
All right. We got Dr. Richards to come. Stick around. I know if we can't take any phone calls, we're going to go straight to Dr. Richards. Shady, bring me Dr. Richards. You stick around right there, Philip. Sure. All right. Let's go, Shady.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
Bring him straight forward for us, guys. Bring him straight forward for me, please. Richards. Bring him up. Good morning. Let's get him. Yes. Good morning to you, Doc. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to you, Bing. I appreciate the opportunity to be on, although you have a guest. Good morning to you, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well by the grace of God. I know.
Amen.
It's good to hear from. This is the first I think I'm hearing from you. So let me go ahead and thank you for whatever contribution that you are making in your constituency, to your people there, and in your other endeavors to help to lift St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I just want to thank you for your effort. This is outside of a political sphere. I usually like to thank Vincentians who are contributing to the development of my country, of our country. The matter of the you're welcome. The matter of the CBI, I'm going to comment on that. I'm going to say a few things because I'm beginning to realize by sheer dint of the volume and weight of opinions that have been expressed on this matter, CBI, particularly of late over the past week or so. It is positioning itself to be a major player in a decision affecting decisions, that is, in the upcoming election. It seems to be that this matter of CBI is going to loom large, and so I think it will be well for our fellow Vincentians to educate themselves on the matter and let it guide them. If it is a big enough catalyst for decision making, then be sure to be well informed about CBI. I think the water is very, very muddy in terms of whether we do have a CBI program or we don't have a CBI program. It's a matter of definition. So there's a lot of mud in the water as to what do we mean when we say a CBI program. And that is going to become clarified over the ensuing days and weeks and months. But just to highlight something here, three individuals, I followed their opinion pieces over this past couple of days. That would be Jason Haynes, many of you might know him, Luke Brown, certainly well known, and Michael Charles, all bright fellas, and all three, I think on Eyewitness News, weighed in to help to educate us and to shape our opinions on the matter of CBI. If you can find their articles on Eyewitness News, I think you should read them. On the one hand, Jason Haynes makes quite a case for why we should go CBI. I will give a synopsis in a little bit. Luke Brown is adamant that we should not go for CBI. He makes a case as a lawyer would, and you should read why Luke Brown thinks we should not go to CBI. And Michael Charles looks at both presentations, why you should go for CBI as presented by Jason Haynes, why you should stay away far from that thing as presented by Luke Brown. And he says, look, there's a middle ground here. And I think it's an interesting approach. And again, you can read that. For those who don't have the time to read, Jason Haynes, in making his case for the CBI, he calls it an economic imperative. He says that the country needs it given our current economic situation. It's the economic savior. He posits the CBI as the economic savior. He outlines a number of, I won't go into them, but he outlines a number of economic struggles we have and how the CBI is the thing, the one thing above all else that can lift us out of that. He says that the CBF by citizenship by economic contribution, that is a genuine link, despite what others would say. He talks about our eclectic nature as a Caribbean Creole entity, and therefore that historical frame should define us in terms of our solidarity. It should not only be people who are born and bred here, but there is a space in our eclectic entity to include others via CBI. But he does say that there are some legitimate concerns, which I appreciated. That in making his case for the economic imperative, he says there are some concerns, but that they can be they can be managed through stringent legislation. I'm not here to comment and to say, yeah, good move, or to criticize. I'm just here to say this is what he did as a bright young man presenting a case for CBI. I do know whether it is his case or Luke Brown's case or Michael Charles's case. I saw some things that I could appreciate in all of them, but I also saw some very serious flaws in the arguments. But I won't point them out. I'd let you figure them out for yourself. So Jason Haynes makes a strong case. But then you have to weigh what he has said about his economic imperative and the need, and St. Vincent really can't survive in the long term without it. You have to weigh that against what Luke retorts with. Luke, first of all, begins by pointing to the Malthus case, which many of you have talked about and are familiar with. And I think the ruling out of that says that citizenship should not be based on some economic contribution. Citizenship should be based on a genuine connection. So he's going to make that the pivot. He's going to make that the axis of his argument, that there's a difference between a genuine connection and an economic contribution. And his argument, pointing to the Malthus case, his argument is that the economic contribution is not necessarily a genuine contribution. In fact, for the major part of Luke Brown's argument against CBI, he builds this on I don't want to comment. He builds this on that the CBI is for people who want to evade taxes. Luke, forgive me if I'm getting you wrong, but it seems to me that you're saying that the CBI, people want passport. Let me say what you said. People want passport to evade taxes, to circumvent travel restrictions. That's why they want it. They want the passports to escape banking limitations and to get out of legal dilemmas wherever they are. That's why they want the passport. Luke, that's what you said. And that's why you are against, CBI. You also argue, Luke also argues that, watch, we don't need CBI because there are other pathways. There are other pathways to economic prosperity apart from CBI. He makes that statement. Let me put it that way. He makes the statement that there are other pathways. Again, I'm not here to evaluate. I'm not here to criticize a judge. I'm here to present what he said. He's really against CBI because he finds that the CBI programs, where he's looked at them, they are marred by corruption, mismanagement, fraud, abuse, and a lack of transparency. So for Luke's part, contrary to what Dr. Jason Haynes is saying, that is an economic imperative, we need it. Luke is saying lots of problems. We have other pathways. I don't think he outlined. Okay, let me leave that alone. He says there are other pathways. Okay, and he's convinced that there are other pathways apart from the CBI. CBI is too dangerous. It's too fraught with risks. We should stay away from it. There's a third article, and then I'll be done. Again, my purpose is just to present and not to really show you the flaws in each article. There's a third article that's presented by Michael Charles, and basically he is examining both what Dr. Haynes is saying and what Luke Brown is saying, and he's kind of like assessing both and coming to a middle ground. That's my take. He thinks that one argument on the side of Luke Brown, that's sovereign pride, and on the side of Dr. Haynes, he sees that that's economic pragmatism. So we have these two polar extremes: sovereign pride versus economic pragmatism, and he thinks that that's not an ideal way. And I think I said that the other day. To polarize a thing and to not see a middle ground is probably to be an error. So I think what he says is that he examines what currently exists and what could exist as a middle ground. And the large part of his argument, which I'm running out of time, so the large part of his argument is based on, look, we had to regulate the prime minister's powers to grant citizenship. If we are to go for a middle ground and not go for CBI on steroids, a full-fledged, full-blown, marketing, well, he didn't use that word. But he says, okay, right now what exists, PM has the power to grant citizenship, but it's got to be regulated. And he makes reference, as I come to my close, he makes reference to Act number 12 of 1984, and he says this is what really governs the acquisition of citizenship here in this country. I think we need to be more familiar with that. I will try to get more familiar with what governs the acquisition of citizenship currently. And he says Section 9 of that, it looks good on paper, but he says that currently, in the current structure of what obtains, there are flaws in the implementation with the Prime Minister having the power to grant citizenship. He says that the PM's office has broad discretion, and to use his word, unfettered power, which means that there are no limitations. He says that currently there are no statutory or judicial oversight the Prime Minister grants, and that's it. In fact, Section 18, and he's informing Section 18, decisions made under that act. So when the Prime Minister's office decides on who gets citizenship, he says that decisions are final and are not subject to appeal or legal challenge. So the Prime Minister grants it, that's it. And by the way, he also highlights that there is no need for when that decision is made, there's no need for it to be accompanied by reason. I'm going to have to check that out myself. He also looks at the extreme of going to at CBI regionally, what they have done. He says they're teething problems. So if we are to expand, and I think his position is not no CBI or full-fledged, full-blown CBI. His position is middle, because he argues that basically, in a sense, we are doing economic citizenship, I think, which is a better term, economic citizenship, under the rules where you have to be here for 5 years, establish character and all of that kind of stuff. But he says what needs to happen is there needs to be a better regulatory framework. So even if we were to expand it a little bit, the current Act of number 12 of 1984, there needs to be a better regulatory framework. I think the term that I might insert there, I think he may have used it, institutional discipline in the thing, establishing a better criteria for eligibility, that there should be an independent citizenship commission. Right now, I think the power lies with the Prime Minister's office, but there needs to be an independent citizenship commission, more eyes on the thing, and then procedural framework with doing their third-party due diligence. I'm not saying that that's not done. I'm just saying that Michael Charles is saying, boy, you need to dig deep when somebody applies for, citizenship. And it needs not be within your office, but an independent third party should do that, and also independent verification of contribution claims, so that when it comes to the money and the inflow of cash and all of that there should be a lot of eyes verifying that. And also public reporting on the numbers granted, so that the public knows country of origin and the type of investment that they're making. So I thought that all three perspectives, as I read them, helped to inform me. A strong argument by Dr. Hinsberg why we should go for the CBI, an economic imperative, a strong argument there. A strong argument by Luke Brown as to, fraud, the risk possibilities there are too high, we should stay away. And a middle ground presented by Michael Charles. And you can read these and sensitize yourself and become more familiar with the arguments for, against, and in the middle for the CBI. I myself found them to be helpful, but again, each argument I found to have could have been better constructed with flaws. But I'm listening, and I'll continue to listen, read, and shape opinion. Thank you for the time being.
Thank you, Doc. Before you go, Philip, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, actually, I know all three individuals, and I want to thank them very much for their attempt at weighing in on a very important matter. I know Dr. Hayes is a first-rate thinker, and I read his article. I read Luke's attempt at the response. I haven't seen Mikhail's as yet, but I would read. But most of what Mikhail is saying, according to Dr. Richards, is basically what our neighbors are already doing, and even going further to strengthen the regulatory and institutional framework. And the ECCB is also pushing forward. So what Mikhail is advocating, I think he's thinking St. Vincent should do that, but we don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's established there. But Jason, Dr. Haynes, as a first rate, I think his article very well reasoned. And I know Luke as a politician, I'm not sure he's responding as a politician, and making the point about citizenship. Basically another version of his political leader's philosophy about citizens, the highest office of the land. But I mean, he's talked about alternative ways of gaining income, but he hasn't given any. And for the 25 years the ULP has been in office, basically we've been taxing people to death to manage the country, and we've been borrowing. And Luke said there are alternatives, but where are they? He hasn't given any example of that. So, like I said, I'm thankful either way for the contribution by young people, and I want to encourage other young persons in St. Vincent Grenadines. Get involved. It doesn't have to be on this topic, but get involved, write, speak, engage each other. Let's have a real genuine conversation about the possibilities for development, because we want 1,000 flowers to bloom, bing, what we have right now in St. Vincent is where one person, Ralph Gonsalves, want to dominate the marketplace of ideas for 25 years, dominate the marketplace of ideas. And then if people have contrary opinions, I mean, we're all intelligent being created in the image and likeness of God with capacity for reasoning and response to our environment. But the moment you challenge him, he said, oh, you're looking for relevance, blah, 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 you're enemy of the state. It was like, just nonsense. We need to move away from that. So I'm encouraging young people, speak up, write up, discuss. We are enough together for each other, as opposed to Ralph saying he is enough for everybody and wants to completely dominate the marketplace of ideas. Come on, everybody, let's speak up. Doesn't matter what you're interested in. I want to see more people writing on Facebook, calling in on the radio, have little discussions among your groups. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has tremendous potential, and I'm telling you, Team NDP is the one party being that is going to unlock and unleash that potential by creating space for people to think, feel, and be themselves. This is what we need for development. This is what we need. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going to create. And so questions about the CBI and so on would give us leverage, because then we'd have some income to do things and encourage people to do things in partnership with each other and global citizens in the SVG enterprise. We're not having this now. We're just having a one-man talk show. We need to get rid of that yesterday and create space for ourselves to be ourselves and feel ourselves. Come on, man. I'm so excited about the possibilities of a new St. Vincent and the Grenadines under new leadership who has a high esteem of the people with which we're looking to lead. We have a very high esteem. On the other side, they have a very low opinion of the people and think they could just throw any old garbage and bamboozle people into following them. We have to put an end to that. And I'm come here to declare war, and this one-manism, this stifling of people's conscience, stifling of people's intellect, intelligence, and space. We need to create space for us to engage in robust building of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Team NDP is the only one who would do that. And in Maracua, Philip Jackson is your guy.
Oh, wow. Doc. Doc.
If nothing else, the guy is passionate and can talk.
Yes, definitely.
This is going to be interesting. Thank you for your feedback on what I said. Like I said, it's three perspectives, and some people are for, just some people are
Thank you
against.
for pointing out the third article, and I hope and wherever on your own platform and your pulpit, let's encourage our young people to get involved, get engaged. Don't be afraid of anything. Yeah, St. Vincent.
Do that all the time. All the best to
wonderful.
you.
Awesome. That's really
take
great.
care. Have a great day. All right, bye.
Yeah, man.
Well, Doc, sign out, and we're gonna sign out. But before I sign out with you, I wanna ask you. I'm gonna paint a scenario for you.
Yes.
I think it's a real scenario. There are three categories of people. All right, the business people, the unemployed, and I don't want to say students of Maracua. Business person, the unemployed, student, I'll make it four, and the employed. What do you have to say directly to these people in the constituency of Maracua? You've got a lot of students, as you pointed out, right? And what do you have to say directly to the people who are employing people, to the people who are employees, to the people who are unemployed, and to the students of Maracua?
Right. To the students of Maracua, I want and best wishes to those who are doing CPA today and tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
To the students, I want to let them know that the sky is the limit, and that we live in a global world, and that we have to prepare our minds to engage with knowledge, learn how to learn and learn how to work together, because anything is possible. And do not limit yourself. And I'm going to say, I will be fighting for every student to be given real opportunity to achieve. We will surround you, we'll create the environment to surround you, support you and your parents, and use the resources in Maracua to do that. And I'll be talking to your parents, your principals, your teachers, and to you, and other mentors in Maracua about how we can do this. But for the time being, read, and discuss with each other, and make up your bed. because great achievement starts with the discipline, and that discipline has to first start with the closest space around you, the space that is immediately in front of you, your bed, the house, the yard.
Nice.
Do that. Now, to the unemployed, part of the unemployment problem is that the economic opportunities in St. Vincent are really restricted. That is because there's very little opportunity for income. Something like the CBI can bring resources into St. Vincent and the Grenadines that can create employment opportunities for you. But part of the other problem with unemployment is that in traditional areas where there could be employment, there's not enough support structure in agriculture and so on to say to the folks, hey, you can become self-employed. We're going to give you the tools. We're going to give you the knowledge. We're going to expose you to technology. And the development bank, the NDP's development bank, will be your bank, is going to make sure you get the financial resources to do so. And we're going to make sure the technical team is there to hold your hand and help you through your ideas. Yeah, so it's unemployed. To the business people, there are many opportunities to expand what you're doing with adoption of technology and knowledge. We will make sure that we have what I call technology extension services officers who would come to your business and sit down with you, do an audit of what you're doing, look at your business processes and say, hey, you can gain some efficiency here by adopting this program, this app, and so on. And we could help you with the accounting here. We could, walk until people improve. So the businessmen, and then there'll be opportunities to get very affordable loans again through the development bank to expand. But Bing, I want to also show a great opportunity in Maracaibo, what I call agro-ecotourism. Maracaibo is probably the most beautiful valleys in the entire Caribbean. Just walking around that ridge, it reminds me of a volcano and a crater. There's a great opportunity to make Maracaibo a real center for agro-eco and nature tourism. And so you could imagine people coming to hike all our beautiful trails and bathing our rivers in Montreal, clean water, relaxing in nature and feel rejuvenated. People have the opportunity to be tour guides, to sell fresh fruits, vegetables, to go on a farm. You can imagine going on a farm in Maracaibo as a tourist, right? You're going to pick your lunch, the stuff that is going into your lunch. You walk about, you pick your stuff, select your tomatoes, your lettuce, and then the chef puts that nicely together in a very beautiful place, a bird singing, beautiful environment. Money is there to be made, agro-ecotourism. I'm going further still. There's opportunity for augmented reality and virtual reality tourism. Imagine if we have another pandemic, right? People won't be able to come to St. Vincent because shut down, right? Mm-hmm. If you have another hurricane that destroys just completely destroys the place, people may not be able to come. But what if we had what we call virtual SVG? By virtual, I mean St. Vincent and Grenadines that you, through virtual reality, putting on a virtual reality goggles, can visit St. Vincent from the comfort of your room in San Francisco, Tokyo, or Beijing. All you have to do, put that on, you choose destination SVG. You get on your treadmill or your exercise rowing machine or bike, and as if virtually you are in St. Vincent, the most beautiful place in the world. People pay for that. That's an opportunity, and that is part of the new economy pillar that Dr. Friday speaks about, one of the 4 pillars. So St. Vincent and Grenadines, agro, eco, nature, tourism, and the new economy. One place, in one shot, in what I just described there about virtual St. Vincent and Grenadines, we could do all of this in one space. So this is what new technology brings economic activities. And then you ask, well, I think I covered everybody: students, yes. Businessmen, unemployed. Yeah. And those who are employed. And those who are employed will help you to get new skills, to access new opportunities. There's something called gig work, where now you can sit at the computer and do work for anybody in the world. But we're giving you new digital skills and new skills that you could sell anywhere on the internet. So if you're employed already, but you want new skills, economy is one of our 4 pillars. And I could see myself on Dr. Shell because the 2 of us more into computer make this thing happen. I'm so excited, Bing. And I want the people of Maracaibo to realize that together we can achieve great things. I'm listening to you. I'm learning, and let's build this thing together. We do this thing together. No need to be afraid. I'm here for us to work together because guess what? You guys are the real champions. The people of America are the real champions. But what they're going to say in the next elections, hey, we just need a new leader and a facilitator to bring out the best that we have inside of us. And that is my promise. That is my solemn promise to the people of America. I am that leader who would help you to realize your truest potential and your children's potential. We got a lot to uncover. We will watch. Sit together. We'll talk to one another. We'll plan together. We'll work together, and we will achieve together.
Philip Jackson, very passionate indeed. Thank you very much for being in here with us this morning. Thank you. It certainly was a pleasure indeed. We can't stay any longer. Persons are asking to go on some more and all of that.
Yeah.
You certainly touched a nerve there with the people who are listening. So very passionate indeed. And I must applaud you for your morning with us. We certainly did enjoy it.
Bing, thank you so much. You're doing a
brother.
wonderful
Thank
job
you.
in nation building. I've been following you ever since I was young.
All right, okay.
And I really want to, God will bless your efforts and your work. And I want you to feel free to engage. And the more we engage with each other, the more opportunities we would uncover for each other.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Yes.
Shady, yes.
Thank you, Shady.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Bye. We talk again soon.
Yes, Philip Jackson from the NDP, the candidate for the Mariquita Valley. Those who are calling, we can't take any calls right now because we gotta go. It's been a long morning. I'm in some pain with my arms. Thank you, my brother. And Shady's got to go as well. All right, until tomorrow morning when we'll be back with you. We have the Rotary Club coming in tomorrow morning, so we'll have a good one tomorrow morning. Listen, don't have a good day, people. We want you to have a great day today.